Cameron Yoe wants to ring in a state championship. At 14-0, Jason Cabrera and company need one more win to get the job done. But Daingerfield has won 3 state titles in the last 4 years. Is another one in the future? The 2A Division I state championship is next. We welcome you to Cowboys Stadium in Arlington, Texas for the UIL Class 2A Division I State High School Football Championship presented by State Farm. This afternoon, it's the Yoemen from Cameron. Cameron Yoe taking on the Daingerfield Tigers for the 2A Division I state crown. Hi again, everybody. I'm Craig Way. Happy to be joined by Travis Stewart, managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine. 2 years ago, Daingerfield managed to beat Cameron Yoe for the 2A Division I state championship 33-27. It was an exciting game. Today's game might be every bit the matchup that one was.
It may still be a thriller, but it's a much different match of styles than it was then. A new head coach for Daingerfield for sure, but a lot of new players on both sides of the ball.
Well, it started off with Cameron Yoe. When you think of defense, so the Yoemen have had some big-time playmakers on defense, led by Edgar Luna.
And this is the best defensive player in Class 2A. You can't talk me out of it. I think that's just the truth of it. He's an unbelievable talent, and he has a penchant for knocking the ball out of ball carriers' hands.
They have been tough to move the football against this season, have the Yoemen, but they have quite a challenge because in the story of that old unstoppable force against a movable object, Daingerfield has plenty of offensive unstoppable forces, and that includes young Mr. Mims.
Edwin Mims, and there's been a lot of Mims in Daingerfield through the years, but this is one of the best of all of them. He's a great wide receiver who can play quarterback, he can play running back. He's got a walk-off punt return for a touchdown to win a game this year in the postseason. He is a special, special talent.
The Hill and the Tigers will be ready to go this afternoon. Offense of Daingerfield, defense of Cameron Yoe. However, there are playmakers on both sides for both teams. We'll tell you all about it. We'll have the kickoff of the 2A Division I state championship, Yoe and Daingerfield, next on Fox Sports Southwest.
Our football triple header on Friday continues with the Class 3A Division I crown at 4 p.m. What a matchup between 15-0 Navasota and one-loss Gilmer. Navasota has made headlines all year as the #1 team in the state, while Gilmer has 2 UIL trophies this past decade, with 2009 the latest. The Buckeyes are road-tested and know how to win this time of year. Join us at 4 Friday afternoon from Cowboys Stadium for the Buckeyes and the Rattlers.
The UIL Texas State High School Football Championship is brought to you by State Farm. Visit texas.statefarm.com to score the ultimate VIP experience. By DQ, for the best tasting treats, eats, and drinks in Texas, DQ just tastes better. And by Ford. Stop by your Texas Ford dealer and find out why the F-Series trucks are the best in Texas. Daingerfield and Cameron Yoe for the state championship, and the third member of our telecast team, Ahmad Brooks, down on the sidelines with Daingerfield head coach Eric Sardinha.
Yes, we are, Craig. We appreciate you, Coach. Your Daingerfield Tigers are no stranger to the state championship. What was your message for the guys in the locker room?
Well, I just wanted them to know that we need to come out and fight for our community. We got good tradition here. Our kids have really done a good job all year long of coming out and playing football. I just wanted to make sure that they made sure that when they came out, that D represented Daingerfield football today.
A formidable opponent in Cameron Yoe. What concerns you about their squad?
Well, they have a really good defensive front. They're really good up front. We're going to have to make sure our offensive line does what they're supposed to do as far as reading their keys, making the correct calls. That's going to be the key today.
Coach, thanks for your time and best wishes. Greg, back to you, my man.
All right, thanks. Ahmad Brooks down there on the sidelines for us today. Carlos Macias, the senior, will kick it off for Daingerfield. As you look at Austin Christie, a senior, back deep to receive the kick for the Yoemen. It's also joined by Zach Phelps, back deep for Cameron. So we're ready to go. State championship game number 4 of the 9 this weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, here at Cowboys Stadium in Arlington. First game of 3 today on this Friday, the middle day of the 3 days of state championships. Macias to kick it off, and we're underway. And this one will be fielded at the 2-yard line by Zach Phelps. Phelps to the sideline, looking for an alley, and will bring it out near the 30-yard line, just shy of the 29. Cameron Yoe will have Jason Capriva. And what a weapon this junior quarterback is, Travis.
And he's going to trigger this spread offense all day. They're going to spread this out from one hash to the other, a very different style than we saw last night in the 2A Division II game, Craig. A lot of running. This Yoemen offense, they want to get 3 or 4 guys out on the sidelines and really start running up and down the field. Those short completions, they open up the long ones later.
Keaton Denayo in the backfield. Denayo's rushed for over 1,200 yards as much as Yoe throws the football. Denayo, a talented tailback with over 1,200 rushing yards. And it will be Denayo on the carry. Big running room. And a first down run for Keaton Denayo, the senior, on the first play from scrimmage. He goes for 23 yards before Corey Smith can wrap him up.
And as Denayo heads outside, you're going to see Colton Shelton, the wide receiver on the bottom left of your screen. He has got the defensive back on skates all the way down the field. And we're going to talk about those receivers and their great ability to get open and their great hands and their speed. But their downfield blocking is a big component of making the ground game work.
So first down and 10. For Yoe. And Capriva's first pass outside. There's one of those dangerous targets, Austin Christie. Another first down. The lefty Capriva connecting with Christie for 13 yards.
And Christie's going to sit here in the slot. He just takes that step backwards, and he's got a full head of steam, and the defense isn't there yet. This is a Yoe offense that it takes you a minute to adjust to because they're so quick and their routes are so precise. And Daingerfield hasn't necessarily seen a lot of that this year. We've seen a lot of ground games, but not a lot of these spread offenses.
2 plays, 2 first downs. Cameron Yoe at the Daingerfield 42-yard line. Opening drive of the football game. And Capriva the throw again. This time off the hands of Aaron Sims, a sophomore receiver. So we take a look at our Ford starting lineups. First of all, for the Yoemen up front, Denzel Haynes, Kylan Harrell, Tyler Vrajel, Cameron Meek, and Jonathan McAnulty up front. The backs and receivers, Keaton Denayo, Quentin Bryant, Colton Shelton, Aaron Sims, and Zach Phelps for Cameron. It is 2nd and 10 for the Yoemen. Capriva with an empty set, 5 wide receivers. Quick pass outside, but this time Daingerfield ready for it. Sean Hooks colliding with Aaron Sims. That's a loss of 2.
And that's a great defensive play. What they do is they leave the slot receiver open, but then Hooks knows his responsibility is to come down and play it right away. That's a variant of what Yoe did just the play before. This time Sardinia made the adjustment. Perfect defensive call on that play. Got caught with their hand in the cookie jar.
3rd down and 12 for Cameron Yoe at the Daingerfield 44-yard line. This time, Denayo stays a little closer to home as the running back offset. And he will go to Denayo outside. Makes the one move, but is still going to be short of the first down. Sean Hooks coming up to make the tackle, limiting Keaton Denayo to just 4 yards, and it'll bring up 4th down, and an interesting decision coming up for head coach Rick Rhodes.
Yoe's an aggressive offense, and they know with a guy like Capriva, who's really matured after he started last year as a sophomore, took his lumps that year, but now that he's matured a lot, makes good decisions with the football, a lot of teams may choose to kick this one away because you don't want to risk a bad decision, a big sack, a turnover. But I think Coach Rhodes knows that Capriva can be trusted here.
On 4th down and 8, and of course Capriva punts as well, so he's dropped back deep enough to where he can and will kick. Trying to pooch it inside the 20 and see if they can get it to stop it. And it is down. It is stopped at the 2-yard line. A 37-yard pooch punt for Jason Capriva. So Daingerfield gets set to go on the attack. And the Tigers' first offensive possession. You see Edwin Mims, who will be used all over the field. As Travis told you, at running back, a receiver. So the backup quarterback will go in and can alternate at quarterback. In fact, he's rushed for over 800 yards this year and has thrown for over 360 as well.
And Daingerfield really doesn't have a base. I guess if they do, you could call it a spread. but they're incredibly multiple. Sardinia was an offensive coordinator at Rowlett. As you see, Karis Alexander step under center. He was an offensive coordinator at Rowlett, and they were very multiple there, and he brought that system here to Daingerfield.
Karis Alexander over 2,100 passing yards, 19 touchdowns, looks to throw, and is picked off. His first pass intercepted inside the 10-yard line by Zach Raiola. The senior Bandit linebacker comes up with the theft.
Only his second interception of the year, and that's the best time possible for it. Yo sits out in his zone. Raiola's right here in the middle of your screen, and I just don't think Alexander ever saw him. He was trying to get that ball a little bit higher to the deeper route. It came right to Raiola. He didn't even have to move. And Alexander explaining now to the coordinators and saying, when we roll out like that, when that defense stretches out all the way across in the zone, they were just in the right spot, and there wasn't a whole lot of places to go with the football.
Early turnover, and Yo in business at the 9-yard line of Daingerfield, first and goal. Denayo in the backfield. Beside Capriva, it is Keaton Denayo. Trying to surge forward, but that's only going to go for about a yard. Corey Smith coming up from the safety position to make the tackle.
In Daingerfield defensively, they're really a 3-3 stack at the roots. 3 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers. That's what they want to be. But they saw so many ground games this year. The stack just doesn't really work against a lot of those heavy pounding ground games with only 6 guys in the box. So the defensive coaches have had to adjust a lot through the year, bring on another linebacker to make it a little easier on them.
Second and goal for Yo at the 8-yard line. Capriva. The inside screen does not work as he tried to go to Zach Feltz. And Feltz is brought down for a loss of a yard by Calvin Bryant.
These Tigers are playing aggressive defensively. They brought a guy hot off the edge on Capriva's blind side. Anticipating the short route, they filled that gap too. In Daingerfield, I don't know if it's applicable to say they're a downhill defense, but they're so quick and they're so athletic, especially in that front 6 or 7. They get on top of you in a heartbeat.
Third and goal, where the Yoemen started this possession after the interception from the Daingerfield 9. Capriva to the end zone, and that one caught, touchdown. Zach Feltz took it away from the would-be interceptor for Daingerfield at the goal line, and it's a touchdown for the Yoemen.
You can't play it any better. If you're the Daingerfield defense, they're in tight press man coverage. The guy's right there, just slipped through his fingers. Feltz was right there to make a tough catch in traffic. Not a surprise. He's an all-district guy.
You saw Ray Wallace, the outside linebacker, break on the ball and looked like he had it, Travis, and just somehow Feltz took it away from him. Michael Levon for the extra point. The kick is good. So the turnover turns into points for the Yoemen. Jason Capriva with his 38th touchdown pass of the season.
Well, the ball gets there quick, and I think ultimately that's what ended up catching Ray Wallace off guard. He just got there a little bit quicker than he anticipated. He thought he had some time, maybe already looking upfield a little bit. Raiola just sticks his hands in there and plucks it away. It's a bad break for Daingerfield, but a really nice catch by Raiola, or Feltz.
And Feltz with his 10th touchdown catch of the season, and Eric Sardinia knows he's got to get his offense in gear now against this tough Cameron Yo defensive group.
Now we're going to get a chance to really see Edgar Luna step up. He's the big nose guard, and if you haven't seen this guy this year, and I suspect most people haven't because he plays in 2A school, you don't get much TV coverage down in 2A. What you're going to see is a guy who's very destructive at the line of scrimmage. He's almost impossible to block one-on-one, but that's what Daingerfield's more or less going to have to do today. And Coach Sardinia even said the matchup of the game is more or less his center, Donovan Dublin, against Edgar Luna. And if Luna wins that battle, Daingerfield's going to be playing from behind. And if that's a game that Dublin can win one-on-one, then it gives the Tigers much better odds.
So back deep to receive the kick. Ray Wallace. And here's the kickoff from Michael Levon. And that one is fielded instead up tight by Calvin Bryant. And not much of anywhere to go. Out to the 24-yard line, but nothing more than that. And Yo defenders downfield quickly. So here's the Daingerfield offense getting ready to go back to work. They'd only had the one quick pass and the interception, and Karis Alexander will try to get Daingerfield's attack going again.
And I would not be surprised if Daingerfield went to the ground game a little bit here. They've got Edwin Mims trotting out. Looks like that's the guy they're going to put under center this time, and it will be.
So Mims instead of Alexander to play at quarterback. We mentioned you'll see him all over the field today for Daingerfield. He'll hand off, and it just gets going nowhere. They tried for the speed sweep, and the alleyway a little too tight for Sean Hooks, and they lose 4 yards.
Looked like he actually tripped as they come together. Yup. Both the running back and the end around man were trying to occupy the same space.
Cordarius Anderson is the running back there. That's now 2nd down and 14. Back at the 20-yard line, Anderson remains the running back. And Mims at quarterback. This time it's Anderson. Gets back the 4 yards lost on 1st down. Take a look at the Ford starting lineup on offense for the Daingerfield Tigers. Cameron Precise, Malik Evans, Donovan Dublin, Jacoby Simpson, and Willie Evans. The offense in front. The man who just carried the football, Cordarius Anderson, joined by Justin Taylor in the backfield. Edwin Mims playing quarterback now. He will rotate along with Harris Alexander, Sean Hooks, and Takima Wilson, also receivers for the Tigers. And Alexander back in at quarterback for this 3rd down and 9 snap from the 25-yard line of Daingerfield. As the Tigers spread the field, Alexander under a lot of pressure, and down he goes. The man charging in for the Yoemen to make the tackle is junior Traylon Weber.
And Alexander's just a junior. And I think what he'll learn as he gets older is that would have been an opportunity to step up in the pocket. And a lot of times when you get into 2A football, you're going to play some teams that are pretty good. You're going to play some teams that aren't very good. And against the teams that aren't very good, sure, you can take a couple stutter steps and maybe get outside. But against these elite teams, you have to step up into the pocket and let the pressure slide past you.
High snap, and Macias trouble with it. He'll try to left foot kick it, and this is going to be a touchdown. Edgar Luna in the end zone, and Cameron Yo scores again.
Edgar Luna right on the spot. We talked about him forcing fumbles. Goodness, he's got 8 on the year, but he's recovered 5 of them too. Just Hunter takes his eyes off the ball for just a half a second, then he can't get the kickoff, and there's 5 Yoemen right there. When you're that close to the end zone, when you try and punt the ball from that close to the end zone, in the back of your mind, you know disaster can lurk. And in this big stadium with all these lights and that big screen in front of you, especially on that spot in the field where all of that is laid out in mosaic in front of you, sometimes it's not uncommon to just get something distracting you, get something in your eye, see some big picture. It's hard to keep your focus there.
Michael Yvonne for the extra point for Yo, and before they kick it, there was some movement in the line.
Delay game on the offense, 5-yard penalty, replay the try.
Not often you see a delay on an extra point, but the delay of game will move it back 5 yards, and Yo will have to attempt it again.
And the size and the spectacular fashion of the stadium were something Sardinia told me about. Was he told his players, look, this is a carnival. I mean, there's all sorts of activities and flashing lights and pictures and motion and sound, and it's going to take an adjustment period.
5 yards further back, the extra point is good for Yvonne. And Yo out to a quick lead, 14-0. And as we go to break, here's a special message from State Farm.
Taking a look at Carlos Macias, now the kicker and punter for Daingerfield. As that punt went through his fingers in the end zone, and Edgar Luna fell on it for Yo to give him a 14-0 lead. But you got to remember, this Macias kid's actually a pretty good kicker. Second team all-district guy last year in 8-2A Division I. And against New Boston this year, he did pin that team inside its own 10-yard line twice on punts. He's also Daingerfield's kicker. And right now, the most important thing for you is to keep your kicker's mindset strong. You don't want a fragile kicker he's yet throughout the game. So you know Sardinia and the rest of the crew is going to come to him on the sideline and say, look, sometimes bad things happen. We got unlucky, but we need you focused for the rest of this game because at some point we're going to need you again.
Yeah, I think it was a situation in his case where he was trying to drop it with the left hand and kick with the right foot and just couldn't get it squared up, and he was in a hurry, and Edgar Luna, certainly Johnny on the spot. Here's the kickoff from Yvonne, and it's fielded at the 2-yard line. Bringing it out is Corey Smith. Smith across the 20-yard line for Daingerfield. So the Tigers will try to go back to work again. We've been telling you about that Cameron Yo defense. Edgar Luna comes up with the special teams play. And of course, he's the anchor of that defensive front. Luna had the fumble recovery for the touchdown.
They've got Mims in under center now, which usually means run.
He sends a man in motion. It is Mims to run the ball. And the Yoemen are ready. Coming over to trip him up is Colt Labai. Labai, the junior corner.
And Mims is important because he can run and he can throw and he can catch and all those things. But he's also important because he's a great leader in the locker room. And while they'll need him for his production right now, they need his stabilizing presence even more. He was a big player on the 2010 title game. He's seen it all. They need him right now.
2nd down and 7. And Mims to run it again. Got a couple of blockers in front, but Yo does a good job of stringing the ball out. Now it came out, but Daingerfield was on it at the end of the play. The Yoemen did a really good job of stringing that play out despite blockers in front for Edwin Mims.
He actually had about 2 or 3 blockers. Both of his backs are right there. And he's got number 1 coming up on the bottom of the play. But Yo just pushes through those blocks. And so far, I've been very impressed with Yo's sideline-to-sideline defensive speed. Because they're making Daingerfield look pretty normal right now offensively. But this is as speedy and fast-twitch team as you're going to find in 2A.
Harris Alexander back in at quarterback for Daingerfield on 3rd down and 5 from the Tiger 29. But it will be a running play, and trouble nowhere at all for Cordarius Anderson to go. Maybe a yard, but nothing more than that. Michael Gellner, also Denzel Haynes coming over on the tackle, and Samari Wright. It was team tackling.
We've talked a lot about Edgar Luna already, but Samari Wright is almost his equal, both in production and in overall ability. He's their overall leading tackler. He came into the game with 229. He's a junior, but he's going to be a college player for sure.
Well, now Macias, with a better snap, is able to get the kick away, and it's fielded at the 35-yard line by Phelps. And Phelps running laterally, no place to turn upfield. And Spencer Alexander makes the tackle for Daingerfield. So the Yoemen go back on the attack. Daingerfield's defense has a little more turf to defend after the early turnover for the first touchdown. Then, of course, that Hunt misfire for the second touchdown for Cameron.
We haven't seen much of the Yo offense at all, really. Just the one drive they gave him the first touchdown. Well, actually led to the punt. They're going to go 4 wide again with Trips on the left and that little slot wide receiver. And again, Daingerfield's going to lay off of him in coverage right there.
Capriva marched the Yoemen to a couple of first downs before that early punt. And they'll hand it on the reverse. Coming around the Phelps. A lot of running room for Zach Phelps. And forced out of bounds. Daingerfield was looking for Donayo on the counter, but it goes the other way.
It's a great play. And we've talked about, they throw the ball so much. Capriva over 3,000 yards on the season. He's thrown the ball 354 times coming into the game. They don't run as much, but when they do, with the field so spread and with the defense so focused on those short routes, there can be a lot of opportunity for big plays.
At the Daingerfield 40-yard line. This time, again, the quick play. Outside is Phelps. Zach Phelps has made his presence known early. Picks up 5 yards. Ray Wallace, the tackle for the Tigers.
And they've got something with Phelps. They must have seen something on film during the week that made them feel confident that he could have a big day, because he only came in with 7 rushing attempts on the year, 1 for a touchdown. 36 catches, 3rd on the team, but so far, he's been the star.
2nd down. And a short 5 needed for the first. Capriva, the long count now, looking over the defense. Back to the ground. This time, Denio denied. Picks up a couple, or lost a couple rather, but Tyrod Mims right there to drive him back.
Name sounds familiar, doesn't it? Another Mims. There's actually 3 of them on the roster. There's Ty Roderick, made a great tackle coming off the side there. There's Edwin. Then there's Reuben Mims. But none of these are brothers. They're all cousins. We talked about how important the Mims name is Daingerfield. Coach Sardinia told me, if you don't have a Mims on the roster, you're in trouble.
They have been a factor for years here in Northeast Texas. 3rd down and 6. Capriva to the air, and nearly a spectacular grab outside by Colton Shelton. You talk about climbing the ladder, almost pulled it in. It'll bring up 4th down.
And Daingerfield forced that throw a little bit earlier, I think, than Capriva wanted to throw it, because they brought a big blitz right down the middle, and Capriva didn't really get a chance to step into it. Kind of had to throw it where he was, and that left that ball floating a little bit.
4th down and 6 for the Yoemen at the Daingerfield 36. Now Capriva retreats a bit as if he will pooch punt, and he will. Left-footed down inside the 20, gets another great effort on the pooch punt, and this will roll down to the 7-yard line. 29 yards on that little wedge shot that pins the Tigers deep in their own end of the field again here.
And Coach Rick Rhodes and Cameron Yo spent a good amount of time this week talking about how important special teams is for them. May not be for everyone, should be, but it is for Yo. And he's had a lot of good quarterbacks there, including his son, Jack Rhodes, who was the quarterback during the 2010 title run. He was also a punter. And they stress that day in and day out, field position is crucial. Got to get punting in there.
So, Daingerfield going back to work offensively. So far, minus 18 yards of total offense for the Tigers. Mims to the air earlier, setting it up to Sean Hooks, but trouble again. And Samari Wright reading it well, comes over to drop Mims for no gain.
Samari Wright just closes down. Look, he's not even in the picture at first. Look how far he comes to get in on that play. He was all the way lined up over the tackle. He has to come all the way to the outside to wrap up a guy who's a star cornerback and wide receiver. Coach Rhodes talks about how hard Samari Wright works. Put it on display there.
Sean Hooks held to no gain on the play. Now it's 2nd down and 10 from the Daingerfield 7. This time it's Mims handing the football to Cordarius Anderson, and there's just nothing available there. Getting near the end of the first quarter here, Cameron Yo with a 14-0 lead on Daingerfield here at Cowboys Stadium in Arlington, the 2A Division I State Football Championship. Craig Wade, Travis Stewart, and Bod Brooks, and our Fox Sports Southwest crew. This is day number 2 of the 3 days of the high school football championships in the Lone Star State. Game number 1 of 3 today. The 3A Division II championship matchup between top-ranked Navasota and Gilmer to follow in the night contest. The 4A Division II title, Cedar Park and Lancaster battling for the honor. On 3rd down and 10, Alexander to the air, but this is going to lose yardage. Going to the air to try to connect with, and does to Keaton Key, but that loses a yard, and it's 4th down and 11 from the 6. And another punt from deep in the Daingerfield end of the field coming.
And right now, Yo is controlling all the action on both sides of the ball. And the biggest problem for Daingerfield, it's not the quarterbacks, it's not the routes, it's not the receivers. It's that they haven't been able to run the ball effectively yet. And it's put them behind the chains and 2nd and medium and 3rd and longs. And that just does not play to their advantage as the flag comes in.
There was movement in the line even before Carlos Macias had settled back deep in punt formation.
Dead ball, false start on the offense. After this to the goal, 4th down.
Well, that makes a tough situation even more difficult. Some movement even before everybody was set for the Tigers.
Yo has got everybody up. They look like they're going to bring heat. Daingerfield wants a timeout, and they're going to get it.
So they'll take it with a minute
Timeout,
12 to go
First charge timeout
here in the first quarter. I want to remind you that State Farm is giving away a Ford F-150 this weekend. Enter now and text FAN UP to 35350 or visit texas.statefarm.com. Plenty of reason for fans of the Yoemen as well as the band and the dance team to be in a holiday mood and spirit. 2 early touchdowns for the Yoemen in a 14-0 lead, and they're about to get the football again. That is if they don't come up with another big special teams play as they did on the mishandled snap by Carlos Macias. Punt wobbling off the foot, and Edgar Luna right there to recover it in the end zone for the touchdown.
And the thing you have to remember is not only is it dangerous kicking down here because of the ramifications if something goes wrong because you're in your own end zone, but the field's also truncated for you. You no longer can drop back your standard length. And so whenever the defense can pin its ears back and come after you, cutting yards out of it, it's a lot tougher to get this ball off here.
So right near the back line, you see Macias trying to settle in on 4th down and 14 to navigate the distance for the punt. High snap, but it's pulled in, and Macias does manage to get the kickoff, but it is fielded by Sapp with some running room. Now, Daingerfield arrives quickly enough on the coverage, and they drop Sapp after the 35-yard punt, a 7-yard return. It's just been a tough go for Daingerfield early on here, Travis.
And sometimes the nerves of a state title game will get to you. That time ball comes right to a linebacker in zone coverage. And you have this miscue as the 2 guys collide in the backfield. And then finally culminating with the punt. We've got some penalties sprinkled out there as well. And sometimes kids are just too hyped up. They're too amped up at the beginning of a state title game. There's too much emotion. Then you factor in this giant stadium, lights and the people and the noise. It takes you some time to settle down. Sometimes the second half is a much more resemblant picture of what a team really looks like in this game.
Yo with great field position again, starting at the Daingerfield 31. And Capriva. Some time now downfield, incomplete, as he was trying to go beyond the first line of defense to connect with Colton Sheffield, the receiver, and it's incomplete. Sheffield's caught 47 passes this year for nearly 1,000 yards.
There's really 2 guys that top that receiving chart. It's Sheffield, 47 catches, 919 yards. That's 19.5 per catch. Their shorter range guy is Aaron Sims. He's got 45 catches, only 2 less. He's only got 467 yards. He's more of the underneath guy that can really carve you up from the underside.
2nd down and 10 from the 31. Back to the ground, big running room for Denayo, and he'll take it to the end zone, 31 yards.
If you can take a look at this play again from a wide angle, you can see how this happens because the wide receivers are spread so far out. I mean, this is spread offense 101. The wide receivers are spread so far out. There's so much room to run. I mean, look at all the space in the middle as the corners and safeties have to stretch all the way across. When you hit a gap like that, when you get one guard that can pancake a guy and you get to the second level, there's just so much room to run.
Michael Levon to add the extra point in what has been a spectacular first quarter for Cameron Yo. It's not often you see a team have to punt twice in the first quarter and yet score 3 touchdowns.
Well, explosive plays like this from Yo have been a big reason why. Yeah, they've forced the punts, but they've also had to step up offensively and make good on great field position. And that's what they've done. And right now, Daingerfield looks a little bit shell-shocked. And I think the message from Sardini to the team right now is, look, the team in maroon, they came to play. They came knowing what was at stake. They don't look nervous. They don't look tense. They came to play. Now what are you going to do? Because at this point, I guess you could roll over. But you need to step up and fight. There's a lot of football left in this. And we've seen crazier things. There's a lot of football left in this game. But it's up to you to go out there and take it.
So yet another kickoff coming for Yo. Ray Wallace, flanked by Calvin Bryant and Edwin Mims. Devon, who's been busy here in the first quarter, to kick it off again. From his own 9-yard line. Yo's defenders, the kickoff coverage team, downfield quickly enough to limit the return to 16 yards.
Still a decent return, though, and they actually caught a break because there was a block in the back there that didn't get called. Sometimes it just takes a lucky break to get you started. And goodness knows Daingerfield hasn't had any of them so far today. Sometimes it just takes a lucky break. And I'm interested to see right now what they want to do offensively. Are they going to start to speed things up and run out with Karis Alexander and throw the ball a lot more? Or are they going to bring in Edwin Mims, their more stable factor under center, and try and ground and pound? Looks like it's going to be Alexander.
Looked like Ray Wallace might have been a little bit banged up as he went to the sidelines there. Alexander throwing deep. And that is caught. It's Takima Wilson with easily the best play of this first quarter for Daingerfield. It works for 22 yards.
And that goes to show you how deep and athletic Daingerfield is. This guy only had 10 catches coming in on the season. Look at that excellent grab up in double coverage. That can be a jump start for an entire offense.
They'll go quickly now with Alexander from the shotgun, looking to throw again. That's incomplete, but a flag is going to come down. Justin Pratt had the coverage on Takima Wilson and was a little too tight.
No flag. The ball was tipped.
That was Randall Lane, the defensive end, who managed to get his hand on the football. Watch it here.
Good timing. It looks like his responsibility is just to contain. Doesn't necessarily have to get to the quarterback. Just don't let him escape the pocket and run anywhere. When you're in those positions, when the ball starts coming at you, when the quarterback looks your way, you just try and time it and jump. Get your big paws up there, wave them around, and knock a ball down.
2nd and 10 from the 49. This time, Alexander keeping himself to midfield, and that'll be about it. Randall Lane on the stop. So the shortest turnaround you can have from quarter 1 to quarter 2 when you switch sides of the field is just to go to the other side of the 50-yard line, and that'll be the case for Daingerfield as they'll try to turn things around in quarter number 2. It was all Cameron Yoe. Edgar Luna with a recovery. The Yoemen with a 21-0 lead after 1 quarter of the 2A Division I state championship. Second quarter for the UIL 2A Division I state football championship. Cameron Yoe with a 21-0 lead on Daingerfield. Tigers with their most significant offensive movement to this point. They face 3rd and 9 from midfield. Alexander to the air, and unable to hang on to it is Sean Hooks. It'll bring up 4th and 9 right in the middle of the blue star at the 50-yard line.
And even though disaster struck there, and now they're stuck in 4th and long, what they have done at least is they flipped the field position. They were stuck in a lot of that first quarter, buried in their own end zone, having to punt from their own 1 or 2 or 3. At least now they're kicking from the 50. And Macias has got a good leg. This is an opportunity for them to push Yoe way back. Maybe convince Lady Luck to do something for the guys in the blue.
So Carlos Macias to punt. Macias punting for the 3rd time. And Tyler Sapp awaiting the kick. Fair catch at the 12-yard line. 38 yards on the punt. Well, we told you about how tough that Cameron Yoe defense is. You know, you just look at the numbers this squad has posted from some of these guys, and it explains why.
Wow. 3 really talented kids, but Luna and Samari Wright really stand out. And Coach Rhodes talked about Samari Wright. It's not just his ability to come up and play the run, his ability to drop back and pass, his ability to run down a play. But look at how well Yoe has stretched the field horizontally. They've stretched the field defensively. They've gotten into the backfield. So far, they're pitching a no-hitter. They've done almost everything you can ask a defense to do. Even on those short little routes to the outside, they've been in perfect position.
3 yards of total offense in the first quarter for Daingerfield. That's it. On 1st down, spinning through tackles is Keaton Denayo. The first quarter that was good. 12 yards. Jonathan Barber the stop for Daingerfield.
Offensive line gets a great push, and big 76. Denzel Haynes comes all the way across and picks up the block that ultimately would give Denayo about 10 more yards. And right now, Yoe's pretty much getting what it wants. I think Daingerfield a little bit on its heels, trying to figure out exactly how to play this spread, varied look offense.
1st and 10 now from the 24 for the Yoemen. Capriva to the air, a catch, a seam, and some running room for Aaron Sims. Now, after the catch, Good adjustment. Ruben Mims, the safety, limits the gain to 6 yards.
These are the kind of routes we're talking about. I mean, there's no chance you're ever going to get to the quarterback unless the receiver's covered, because the ball, it's essentially just a three-step drop, and then it's gone. And that gives Sims a head of steam with good blocking in front of him. That's the most difficult thing about the spread offense to defend, is those short intermediate routes, because you just can't get to the quarterback in time.
Second down. 4 needed for the first, and Capriva hit really hard. They're popped by Ray Wallace, the outside linebacker, for no gain.
Good crackdown there by Ray Wallace, driving in there close. And that's a guy we haven't talked about much today, but he does a little bit of everything for him, as a lot of 2A players do. He can run the ball, play a little bit of defense. He had 682 yards rushing last year. He's an honorable mention guy. He's got great vision as a running back, and he can lay the lumber as a linebacker.
Third down, and 4 from the 30-yard line. And Capriva going deep up the sideline. The step over the fence. The catch made by Austin Christie. And Christie will take it all the way down to the 14-yard line. That's a gain of 56 yards.
I think that one's Aaron Sims, which is surprising because he's normally a 10 yards per catch guy. They don't usually put him going deep like that, but out of the slot, he beats his man in man coverage right off the top. The safety comes down to play the short route. It's a well-designed play. There he goes.
It is Aaron Sims on that receiving ends of the catch. And now, Cameron Yoemen business again. This started down at their own 12-yard line and on the move. Capriva over the middle, the catch and the touchdown. Colton Sheffield, 14 yards into the end zone.
That's just a perfect timing route. Sheffield comes in on the post, and the safety has to come down on top of it, and you essentially have to time it perfectly, and then you have to make an open field tackle. And Sheffield, who's a 20-yard per catch guy, is a master at making people miss downfield. Daingerfield's opted essentially to leave the slot wide receiver open all day and come down on that zone coverage and try and pick it up. But Yo is just pillaging it right now. They've hit all their big plays, for the most part, on that side, that open slot side.
Michael Yvonne for the extra point. And it continues to go nothing but right for Cameron Yo. The latest, the catch by Sheffield, and a 28-0 lead for the Yoemen.
Awesome game in the nightcap of the tripleheader of state title games Friday night at Cowboys Stadium. Both Lancaster and Cedar Park make their first trip to the state championship as they play for the 4A Division II title. Cedar Park overcame an 0-2 start under first-year coach Joe Willis. What you talking about, Willis? While Lancaster is no longer thought as a track and field school, loaded with major college talent, including the most versatile player in the game, DeMarcus Ayers. Kickoff 8 p.m. Friday night on Fox Sports Southwest.
The UIL High School Football State Championships all weekend on Fox Sports Southwest.
28-0 the lead for Cameron Yo, unbeaten Yo against Daingerfield here in the 2A Division I State Football Championships. As we mentioned, this is the 4th of 9 state championships over 3 days. I'm pleased to be joined by Dr. Jamie Harrison, a deputy director of the UIL, who's with us now. And like we said, first day, I know everybody thought came out very, very well.
It did. We're very excited about the way this has gone so far. We've had 3 great games now, starting our 4th. We've had phenomenal crowds. What a great way to celebrate high school football in the state of Texas. These kids get to experience this great facility. Bruce Hardy and his group here with Cowboys Stadium have been great hosts. And then the best opportunity, of course, having all these games in one location is you guys being able to broadcast all of these games. So all of these kids get to play on TV with great talent like you guys covering the game.
What does it mean for kids and coaches to really be out here on this stage? I mean, you look around at the splendor of it, and I mean, for a lot of these kids, they're playing in 2,000, 3,000 seat stadiums, and then all of a sudden to be here today.
Absolutely. It's one of the biggest thrills they'll have in their lives. We try to tell them before the game as much as possible because they're so focused on the game. Take just a second to look around, take in the crowd, take in the facility, but know that you're on Cowboys field, the same field the Dallas Cowboys play on. These are memories these kids will take with them the rest of their life.
You know, we've talked about how many man hours goes into trying to get things ready. I would imagine also it's a pretty sizable commitment from a lot of people in terms of the staff to be able to work an event like this.
Oh, that is absolutely the case. We have several people here from our staff who have worked so many hours, not just this weekend, but in the weeks leading up to this weekend to make sure we're ready. And again, the Cowboys Stadium staff has been great, and you guys at Fox have been phenomenal to work with.
You know, for people who are tuning in, if not for the first time, but haven't tuned in that much, and they follow it, and I get questions all the time. Okay, so UIL does what again? I said, well, not only the governing body of all athletic activities, Daingerfield taking the timeout there, not only are they the governing body for all high school athletics in the state of Texas, but they're the governing body for all extracurricular UIL sanctioned activities in Lone Star State. And that undertaking, whether you're talking about marching band or number sense or any of the academic competitions, all of those things, that takes quite a bit of a commitment from your staff.
That's correct, Craig. We actually have more competitions that aren't athletics than those that are athletics. And we think that's what separates us from many other organizations like ours in the country, is we have so many fine arts, music, one-act play, academic competitions that really put that educational value on competition, not just athletics. Athletics tends to get the focus here in Texas, of course, but that's what makes our organization, we think, so great, to have that pure mission of the academic competitions and the fine arts competitions in concert with these athletic competitions.
You've seen a rise, obviously, in the athletic competition in terms of the member institutions. There's nearly 1,400 UIL member high schools in the state of Texas anyway. What about in the non-athletic pursuits and the fine arts and academic contests? It's also been on the rise as well in terms of the participants in the high schools?
Yes, participation is up in basically all of our categories. We have several new music categories. We have a mariachi contest now that's more than tripled since we started it just a few years ago. One-act play continues to be a tremendous competition for us, and we've developed competitions around one-act play, like set design and costume design, that kids who aren't necessarily acting in the play can be a part of the competition as well.
You know, Travis was greatly disappointed that mariachi wasn't available for him to participate in the early 90s.
Yes, that's right. I have a glorious mariachi history behind me. Talk to me a little bit about, we know academics, as you said, are very important. I just saw the THSCA academic all-state teams were released this morning, and one team we'll see later today, Cedar Park, has 10 kids on that team. How gratifying is it for you guys to see your coaches put an emphasis on academics and working hard in the classroom for these young guys?
We think that's absolutely what sets school sports and school activities apart from club activities and non-school related activities. It's the educational mission, the educational core of our activities, whether it be athletics or other competitions. Our coaches are teachers. Those coaches teach in the classroom every day. They don't just teach football skills. They don't just teach football X's and O's. They teach history. They teach science. They teach math. And so they know the importance of making certain that the focus on the academic side for these student athletes is always taken care of.
First and 10 at the 34 for Daingerfield, on the move a little bit. Here goes Edwin Mims outside and forced out of bounds after a pickup of 6 yards, visiting with Dr. Jamie Harrison, Deputy Director of the UIL, as we take another look at Edwin Mims there, and he'll pick up 6 yards on it. Jamie, I also wanted to get your thoughts now with the end of football season and this being the crowning moment with these state championships. It's on to the spring sports, and I know that is a very busy time across the board athletically for the UIL.
It's the most busy time we have because we're going into basketball and soccer. You follow up with all of the individual sports, track and field, tennis, golf, swimming, diving, wrestling, and then go into softball and baseball. We have so many activities in the spring, so many opportunities for our kids to participate and represent their school in a positive way.
Mims downfield, the catch made by Sean Hooks. A touchdown saving tackle downfield for Jalen White. But Mims to Hooks for 45 yards.
Take a look at it again. Bring a man across the formation and look as the whole Yo defense shifts, including the safety and the guy covering Hooks. And there he goes. Right behind him. Daingerfield's really only struck twice deep in this game. They had one earlier in the first half, a great catch in double coverage. And now again, they caught the Yo defense napping a little bit.
Deepest penetration of this state championship game so far for the Tigers. First and 10 from the 15, and Mims wants to finish the job himself, trying to turn the corner, and the Yo defense there, Samari Wright keying the pursuit along with the outside linebacker Michael Gellner.
And Samari Wright is nowhere near this play to begin it. He's all the way up on the top of your screen. And again, he just has to come all the way across the formation. And Coach Rhodes talked several times in the week about, look, this is not a guy that just comes in and plays the run. Several times this year, the other team would break a long run. And Samari's running 50 yards downfield to bring him down, and did. And a lot of times that kept points off the board.
Second down and 8 from the 13. as Daingerfield tries to get on the scoreboard for the first time today. To the ground. Breaking free. To the end zone. Sean Hooks. A 13-yard touchdown.
And that's the speed and the athleticism and the small space quickness we've been expecting for Daingerfield all along. This is not an easy run. This is not a wide open door. He has to cut all the way where Samari Wright is and then run through 3 or 4 tackles before he's finally pushed into the end zone. That's a tough interior run. Not something we've talked about with Daingerfield a lot over the years. We've talked about the Kieris Garretts, the big-time wide receivers. That's tough interior running.
Macias for the extra point. And the kick is good. Dr. Jamie Harrison, Deputy Director of the UIL, always great to see you. Appreciate you taking the time to join us.
Absolutely, Craig. Appreciate you guys having me.
Thank you.
Daingerfield with a touchdown to get on the board. It's a 28-7 lead for Cameron Yoe. Sean Hooks puts Daingerfield on the board with a 13-yard touchdown run to make it 28-7. Hey, I want to remind you, coming up on the Ford halftime show, a look back at the first half. Rick and Randy, that's Rick Renner, Randy Rogers, will take a look back at the 3 state champions crowned on day number 1 yesterday. And, of course, a look ahead to the games to come up this afternoon and tonight. But at least a spark now for the Tigers getting into the end zone.
And a big opportunity for the Daingerfield defense, which now if they can take the cue from the offense and settle in, good opportunity to get a stop. The thing they have to do, they have to find a way to crack down on that open slot wide receiver that's been bedeviling them, either getting open or blocking downfield. It's given a big problem so far.
Zach Feltz turning the corner after the fake on the handoff, and Feltz a big return across midfield. Finally slung out of bounds, but that's a return of 47 yards.
Special teams again. And these kind of fake plays on kickoff returns, you don't see them all that often, but that's a brilliant execution of it, because not only does he fake the ball, but then he'll hide it behind his hip. And a lot of times defenders look for where the ball is on any kind of a play fake, and when it's behind their hip, you can't see it. And the whole Daingerfield special teams unit bit on that. Only 1 or 2 guys in the backside were there to make the tackle.
So Yoe with good starting field position again at the 48-yard line of Daingerfield. 28-7 lead as the Tigers try to rally back after spotting Cameron Yoe, the first 4 scorers of the afternoon. Capriva to the air, a catch and running room for Phelps. And then quick pursuit by the Tigers to come up to get him and limiting it to a 4-yard gain. Ruben Mims, the safety, on the tackle.
When I talked to Coach Rode and asked him, do you have any key backups that you know are going to see a lot of meaningful time this week? And he said the first name he had was Austin Christie, the senior wide receiver. Plays a lot of slot, jersey number 1. And on that play, he had a good block that gave them positive yardage. That kid's coming in and seen some meaningful minutes today.
2nd down and 6. And this time, a handoff sweeping is Denayo. A flag goes down. Denayo would have enough yardage for the first down, but this may well be coming back. It would deny a 14-yard pickup.
They're going to get him on a hold. One of the wide receivers blocking the outside as Denayo swept around. Just got a hand up outside the jersey, it looked like. They're going to call that every time. So
Lonnie Johnson, our referee, with the indication of the hold, and spot of the foul will mark it back for the Yoemen.
Holding on the offense. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. 2nd down.
And it puts Yoe in a position they really haven't been in today, which is a 2nd and long, where they're way behind the chains. And the ground game really, as we've said, hasn't been their bell cow all year, but it's been a nice change of pace when they need it, and now it's almost out of the equation.
It is now 2nd and 16 back at the Cameron Yoe 48. Capriva, the pass incomplete, and getting a hand on it was Ray Wallace.
And you got to see that again, because Ray Wallace just made a heck of a play. He's going to come in on the right side of your screen and get cut. Number 5, he gets cut and knocked down, but he doesn't quit. He gets up and sticks a paw out there and knocks it down. A lot of players, when they get cut on the knees, they just sit. But not that guy. Pops right up and gets a hand out there. That's impressive.
So 3rd down, back at the 48-yard line. 14 yards needed for the first. We approach the midway mark of quarter number 2. Jason Capriva to throw again. Now some pressure coming, and they're going to load it deep and overthrowing Colton Sheffield. The pressure was coming, and at that point, Capriva had to release the ball. Colton Shelton also a little slow to get up, but he is up. And the Daingerfield defense has held, bringing up 4th down.
And they made an adjustment. The right side of the formation was where they had the open slot wide receiver for Yo, and he ran a big post. But this time, the safety for Daingerfield came in and closed off that option. And as the wide receiver started to drag across the field, every guy in blue stayed at home. As Capriva bought time, nothing opened up. That's going to force this 4th down.
Capriva has punted 3 times, or 2 times, averaging 33 yards per kick, but that's deceptive because he did exactly what he wanted to do. They were both pooch punts that pinned Daingerfield deep in its own end of the field. This a more standard kick, but it is fielded by Mims at the 19-yard line. Mims dancing forward, short return, 34-yard punt, 3-yard return. We go down to the sidelines and check in with Ahmad Brooks.
Guys, one of the stories for this Cameron Yo team throughout the year has been a player they've been missing. Of course, the Raiola twins, one of them, has a disease that is hereditary, and unfortunately for him, he could have been the best player perhaps on the team. Number 11, you'll see him out here today. He's very involved. He's suited up, though he won't be playing. And a very special tradition that they've started over the last couple weeks. They are allowing him to go out on the football field and line up in victory formation. He also was really excited when his brother, his twin, Zach Raiola, got that first interception for Cameron Yo to get things started. Guys, back to you.
All right, thanks, Ahmad. Good story there. Mims on the carry and just picks up a yard. Edgar Luna, the tackle, where he was talking about Dylan Raiola, and Zach Raiola, his twin brother, is the playmaking senior bandit linebacker for Yo, who had the early interception in the ball game.
And Dylan Raiola was a great player last season. He was a second-team all-district defensive back and returner. He was a special team star. Coach Rhodes said, heck, he could have been our team MVP last year if it hadn't been for Edgar Luna, who got the district MVP, actually 2 years in a row now as a nose guard. But Dylan Raiola is a great player and a great story. He's had a heart big enough to stay around and help this team.
2nd down and 9, and back to the ground, and churning his way through traffic is Sean Hooks. And Hooks near a 1st down, picks up 6 yards, 23.
Well, Hooks is now already over his average per game for the season in rushing attempts. He came in with just 23, but he's had 2 big ones on the interior now. Maybe another adjustment that Sardinia is making, saying, you know what, Hooks has been our best interior runner. Yo has closed down the edges, more or less. They've had everything, including the kitchen sink, thrown at Mims. Let's try this Hooks kid. Sure, he's a good corner. Let's try him in the ground game.
3rd down and 2 from the 28. Mims with a blocker in front. Has the 1st down. Popped pretty hard from behind by Samari Wright, but picked up 4 yards, a move of the chains, and a 1st down for Daingerfield.
Samari Wright's a pretty good football player. And Coach Rhodes said that Samari made the decision as a freshman and a sophomore a couple years ago that he wanted to play college football. And that was the end of that he was going to play college football. And they have 3 scheduled weightlifting programs through the week, but not Samari. After practice, he goes in and lifts again. Before practice, he goes in and he lifts again. No matter what he's doing, he's always working on becoming a better football player.
1st and 10 from the 33-yard line. Alexander back in at quarterback. Quick pass out to Hooks. The ball goes out after he hits the turf. It's Tyler Sapp on the tackle and a gain of 1 yard.
Tyler Sapp's a guy that's really stepped up over the past couple weeks because there's a name out here for Cameron Yo that you don't see, and that's Josh Smitherman, who was a key player all the way back in 2010 when they lost to Daingerfield, was the 3rd leading tackler on the team through the playoffs. Then he got hurt with a season-ending leg injury, and guys like Sapp have had to step up in his absence.
After the loss of the yard, it's 2nd down and 11. Alexander on the run to throw the ball and off the hands of Edmund Mims.
That's a heck of a catch, though. Playing it out of bounds, but that kid can rope in a football.
Go with the left hand to corral it going out of bounds. Whew.
And that time the pressure forced Alexander to roll to his right. And there's just not a lot of high school quarterbacks on the run that can throw that pass under tight coverage. I can't blame them for that one.
3rd down and 11 from the 32. Harris Alexander with some time down the middle and off the hands of Hooks and incompletes. On the coverage, Michael Gellner, the Sam linebacker, dropping back in pass coverage and making a play on the ball.
And how many strong side linebackers do you see running with the other team's top corner, Sean Hooks? It's not a bad throw at all. It's in the right place. Gellner can just get out and flat run. If you got a Sam linebacker who can drop and play the pass like that, you're going to win a lot of football games.
See us to punt. And back deep to receive it is Tyler Sapp. Kicking away from Sapp. Does get a bounce, and Sapp has to let it go. And what a roll this will take. This thing will roll all the way down to the 13 or the 18-yard line. That's a punt of 51 yards by Carlos Macias. This is the first game of our state championship triple header on day number 2, the 2A Division I state championship between Cameron Yoe and Daingerfield. This is the 2A Division I title last night. 2A Division II championship won by East Bernard, the Brahmas, winning in convincing fashion over the Mildred Eagles. Of course, that'll be followed by this afternoon the 3A Division II state championship game, and then the 4A Division II title matchup will be contested tonight. 1st and 10 from the 18. Big swing pass outside to Jalen White, and White dropped after a loss of a yard. As you look at the schedule today, Yoemen and Navasota. Yoemen, a familiar face in the finals. Navasota, the #1 team in Texas. Difficult story there with the loss of Xavier Creeks a couple of days ago. Broken leg in a car accident yesterday morning very early. And then Lancaster and Cedar Park playing tonight in the 4A Division II title matchup. 2nd down. After a loss of about a half yard, to throw Capriva over the middle with a catch made, and across the 40 is Jalen White. So White with a catch, pickup of 22 yards and a 1st down.
And that's Capriva on full display as they get into a hurry-up mode, because the wide receiver wasn't really open yet, wasn't out of his break yet when that ball started to come out of Capriva's hand. But that's been the maturation of this kid, who took a lot of lumps when Yoe started 0-4 last year, and a lot of people didn't like the way that team was trending, but Rhodes stuck with him. Paid off this year.
So 1st down and 10 to the 40-yard line. Spinning off a couple of tackles with a catch. Jalen White picks up 9 yards. And they've gone back to White a couple of times. Jonathan Barber on the tackle. By the way, wanted to remind those of you viewing today, and you saw our lineup for tonight, that 4A Division II game between Cedar Park and Lancaster will be seen on Fox Sports Plus, Fox Sports Southwest Plus, due to the commitments to bring you Dallas Mavericks basketball and some of the markets here in Texas, and San Antonio Spurs basketball and other markets as well. So you can catch the game live on Fox Sports Southwest Plus. Check your local listings where to find that on your channel grid, as the pass is incomplete down the sideline for Colton Sheffield.
And well covered by Jonathan Barber, because that's a pump and go. And what the quarterback looks for in that situation is on the pump fake, you look for the corner to bite as the wide receiver sells some kind of a shorter route. But Barber never bid on it, and the safety, Sean Hooks, was coming over the top as well. That's very good downfield defense for Daingerfield, and this is a crucial 3rd and 1. You got to get a stop here. You can't let Yoe score again.
Well, Capriva will hand it, and that will be enough for the 1st down and then some. There goes Denayo. Takes it down inside the 40 and down to the 36-yard line. Sean Hooks the tackle now. He'll tick down close to a minute. You see the time remaining in the 1st half. And the Yoemen have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. And a flag comes down before they can get everything going. But I think Rick Rhodes was asking for a timeout.
Dead ball. False start on the offense. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
Before he could get the timeout, the false start was called, and that will cost the Yoemen 5 yards.
Everybody was moving a little bit there. And sometimes when you get into these hurry-up situations, which is not something Yoe's had to do a lot of throughout the year, because a lot of their games they've won handily. For goodness sakes, they've been the #1 team in 2A D1 for Dave Campbell's Texas football all year. Sometimes you get a little hiccup.
So on 1st down and 15. Under pressure, Capriva has to get rid of the football. And he had to get the ball back to the line of scrimmages outside the pocket. I don't think he did. Sure enough, there's the flag. This is going to be intentional grounding. Trey Traylor was giving him a lot of heat. I don't think the ball reached the line of scrimmage.
It was about 5 yards short. We saw that once yesterday, too, on intentional grounding.
Second down.
And what's interesting about this play, as you can see a little bit on the left side of your screen, Daingerfield actually went with 4 corners this time. And they matched up with every wide receiver man-to-man and tried to run with him downfield. And it worked very well. No one in a white jersey was open. Kapriva didn't really have a whole lot of time to try and buy some time. He had to throw that one away. It just came up a little bit short. But I wonder if we'll see that adjustment in the second half. If Daingerfield's going to have to say, you know what? We like the 3-3 stack. That's our bread and butter. But 4 corners on 4 wide receivers is working. And they've got it shown here again.
So now on second down and 28 back at the 46 is a handoff. Big running room now for Denayo. Breaking through, and Denayo then loses the football. Loose on the turf. And who came away with it? I think Cameron Yoe fell back on it. Denayo ruled down. The end result of this, it's almost enough for the first down. It's a 23-yard gain, and then the ball popped out.
And a timeout. Cameron. First charge timeout of the half.
And the only downside, when you play, no, that's a fumble. That's a missed call. Those are going to happen, but that's a fumble football. Daingerfield came up with that. That's just a bad break. As they go on the draw to Denayo, and watch, the defender's going to come up and put his hat right on the ball. Smack. Right there. That ball's out. Plain and simple.
So a break there for Yoemen. It is third down for Cameron Yoe. They'll need 5 yards. They picked up 23 on second down and 28. Of more immediate concern, Travis, 23 seconds remaining on the first half clock.
With 2 timeouts left. And with 2 timeouts left, you could run the ball again, but I doubt we'll see that. I think Yoe is going to look to throw this ball every time. Maybe they'll go with another draw like they just did on that play, which was successful. But I think they're going to throw this ball every time. With 2 timeouts, you don't have to look specifically to the sidelines. You can look in the middle of the field. This is a very dangerous point for Daingerfield. Nothing would be more devastating than to force a fumble, not be able to get the call on it, and then give up a touchdown with under 30 seconds to go down 35-7 at halftime.
Denayo nearing 100 yards rushing. Jason Kapriva from the shotgun on third down and 5 at the Daingerfield 31. Back to the ground again, and Denayo this time can't turn the corner as he's dragged down for a loss of 3 by Tyrodrick Mims.
Timeout. Cameron. Second charge timeout of the half.
Brings up fourth down, and let's see what the Yoemen choose to do here with 17 seconds remaining in the first half here. The ball at the 34-yard line.
This would be a monster field goal by Michael Evon if he can hit this.
Well, Daingerfield and Cameron Yoe reaching here. You see into the championship in the quarterfinal matchup. Daingerfield, that was a rematch with New Boston from a district game that New Boston had been undefeated and state ranked for a lot of the year. And Daingerfield taking out New Boston, then beating a good Wall Hawk team in the semifinals. Wall had the lead in the game and back-to-back turnovers, turned that game around for the Tigers. And then Cameron Yoe beating a Hallettsville Brahma team that had a landmark season, an incredible year down at Hallettsville, and then knocking out Newton in the semifinals.
Both of those games turned on their heads at the last second. And maybe the hero for Daingerfield that day was Jonathan Barber, who forced 2 quick turnovers in that second half to turn the game around for him.
Fourth down and 8 at the 34, and Yoe to go for it. Kapriva throws it, but it'll be a loss. It's caught by Denayo, and he's dropped by Ray Wallace. Loss of 4 yards. Daingerfield does hold, and they take over with 10 seconds to go in the half.
You've really got 2 options. You look deep or you take a knee. And Daingerfield has 2 guys you could really look deep to who you know can do some damage. Sean Hooks and Edwin Mims. Jonathan Barber's a great wide receiver. We've already seen Wilson on a spectacular double coverage catch as well. But both of those guys less than 20 catches on the year. Hooks and Mims come in with more than 50 and 800 yards and then 8 touchdowns apiece. I would suspect you may see both of those guys on the same side of the formation and try and split a safety, make him make a decision, and then you just chuck it up. They can always take a knee and just go to half and try and regroup. But if they want to look deep, those are probably your 2 big targets.
Well, Karis Alexander, certainly the more pass-oriented quarterback of the two, is out there, and he does look to throw. Across the middle, catch made by Hooks. And will Daingerfield use a timeout here? And I believe they did get one with 1 second remaining in the half. The official stop-out thought they called a timeout with 1 second left. This half may not be over yet. I believe that that's what the officials are discussing. That Daingerfield was trying to get a timeout called before the clock ran out. And we'll see.
Timeout on Daingerfield with 2 seconds on the clock. 2 seconds.
So they will put 2 seconds back on the clock. And they'll have one more shot at it and a chance now with the ball closer to midfield, Travis, to have Karis Alexander put the ball up deep.
Yeah, and with no slight to Karis Alexander, this is 55 yards away. I don't know if he has the arm strength for that throw. A lot of high school quarterbacks don't. I don't know if he has the arm strength for that. So if he doesn't, you got a couple options. You can try and go with the hook and ladder. Pretty famous play. We've seen a lot of teams have some spectacular success with that in the past, and then you're into laterals. You could try and go with some sort of a screen. Some teams will even go to a draw here, and you never know who you can catch off guard. One way or another, I assume they're going to air this one out. We're going to figure out how much of a cannon Alexander has.
Well, you're right about that, Travis, and certainly they at least have more of a hope of being able to throw it downfield from, say, 54, 55 yards out as opposed to 63 yards, which they picked up on the one pass to Sean Hooks. So one play here before the half. Now load up 3 receivers at the top of your screen there. Make it a 4th as Hooks joins the party. And Alexander trying to scramble away from traffic, now lets it fly deep. But it is going to be short. The ball's tipped and incomplete. It popped in the air a little bit, then came down loose, and it's incomplete. And so at the half, it'll be a 28-7 lead for Cameron Yoe. Yoemen had that flying start before Daingerfield was able to get a score before the half.
And the offense with 28 on the board, they should get a gold star, but the defense was the more impressive unit. Even on that last play, which Daingerfield looked to have pretty well drawn up with 3 guys at the top of your screen, and then you had Sean Hooks come in motion right next to him. Samari Wright stepped right through the offensive line and blew it up immediately. And then Alexander was scrambling. He had to chuck it up, and it didn't pan out.
28-7 halftime score. Down on the field, Ahmad Brooks with Yoe head coach Rick Rose.
Indeed. Coach, you guys got off to a wonderful start. Those 2 turnovers lead to 14 points. Just talk about the start for your squad.
Well, I was very proud of the way we came out. I wish we would have finished the half a little stronger. You know, there's still a lot of football to be played. They're a very good football team, and I don't think 28-7 is going to hold up. We got to come out and play a great second half, but our defense played great. They've been playing great all year long. Gave us great field position, gave us a turn. You know, they actually scored a touchdown for us. So as long as we can do that, we'll be all right. There's a lot of football to play, a lot of football.
Well, you certainly have some great pieces. Of course, Luna there recovering the ball for a touchdown, but also Samari Wright. He's been all over the field. Talk about your middle linebacker and his presence on your defense.
Well, our whole defense. I mean, Samari is a very good football player. Edgar's a very good football player. But our entire defense is playing extremely well right now, extremely well.
And the message to your kids at half?
This thing ain't over. I mean, there's a lot of football to play. I mean, they score 1 touchdown, they're right back in it. So we got to come out with the intensity we did the first half.
Coach, best wishes. Guys, back to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Amon. Halftime score 28-7. The Yoemen. Cameron Yoe with a 28-7 lead on Daingerfield. And now a special message from your Texas Ford dealers.
Hello, my name is Philip Podgorny. On behalf of Ford and the Texas Ford dealers, I want to thank all the players, coaches, families, and fans that have participated in the Built Ford Tough High School Player of the Week program this year. This year's program is on pace to break the all-time nominations record with over 1,400 submissions. The Built Ford Tough High School Player of the Week program is designed to recognize one individual in each of the state's 6 classifications on performance both on and off the field. Speaking of recognition, a special congratulations goes out to former Built Ford Tough High School Player of the Year and the Texas Aggies quarterback, Johnny Manziel, who just won the 2012 Heisman Trophy. Congrats, Johnny Football, or should I say Johnny Heisman. Now that the regular season has come to an end, it's time to select and honor one individual in each of the state's 6 classifications as the Built Ford Tough High School Players of the Year. Please log on to playeroftheweek.com to nominate your favorite player. Thank you for allowing Ford and the Texas Ford dealers to be a big part of high school athletics.
halftime at the Death Star. It's a rematch of the 2010 title game. Cameron Yoe doing yeoman's work, looking for their first state championship in some 31 years and complete the perfect season. Welcome into the Ford halftime show. Rick Renner alongside the brains of the operation, talking about Randy Rogers of RandyRogersRecruiting.com. Now, on paper, this one was expected to be as great as the last time these two hooked up in the state title game some 2 years ago, but we don't play them on paper. We play them inside your TV sets. Yoe in control right now.
Yeah, what a first half, Rick, for Jason Capriva, the quarterback at Yoe. His pinpoint passing has kept Yoe in control of the football, but more importantly, those two pooch punts of his put inside the 10-yard line led to really the two scores for Cameron Yoe.
Yeah, you know, you look at it, you can't make mistakes, especially this time of year. Let's take a look at some of those Daingerfield mistakes, which Cameron Yoe really jumped on and took advantage of.
Right, exactly. After the first pooch punt, we throw the interception, which sets them up for a score. Daingerfield gets the ball back after the second pooch punt. Miscue, the punter panics a little bit, misses the ball. I mean, this is a play that at the high school level, and here we'll come back and talk about that, Rick. But here's another big special teams play for Cameron Yoe. The fake reverse on the kickoff return and brings it all the way back out past midfield.
Yeah, and you get good speed like he does to take advantage of something like that. That's a great call on that play.
Oh, absolutely. And boy, you know, it just makes a big point of how important special teams is in football. It's 1/3 of the game, and Cameron Yoe has been far superior. They really made some breaks for themselves on special teams.
And how about quarterback Jason Capriva, who, you know, when you give him a lead, that is a dangerous situation to put yourselves in.
Yeah, he's really a good ball control passer. You watch him, he's a left-handed guy. A lot of the balls early in the game were going off to the one side, to his throwing side. But what I like about it, he's very good ball placement accuracy, puts the ball, throws a variety of short passes that gives his playmakers a chance to run after the catch.
Well, my girl Megan has been monitoring the social universe. A lot of chatter from high school football fans, and we appreciate all your questions on Twitter at FS Southwest, #UIL on Fox. And here's a really good one from Kyle Style. Why could you catch the ball on the punt and run it into the end zone without it being a touchback? And that's a good question. You brought that up.
Yeah, it really is. And hopefully when we after the ball game, maybe we'll have a clip of that exact play. But what the referees rule is that the player, the cover guy for Cameron Yoe, had possession of the ball. He actually caught it on about the 2 or the 3 yard line and ran in the end zone, but he clearly had possession. So the referee calls the ball down when the cover guy clearly has possession.
That surprised you, that call, no?
Yeah, it really did. It happened so fast in live time that I thought, oh, wait a minute, that should have been a touchback. That's a bad call. But then when you go back and analyze it, the officials made the right call.
Keep your questions coming. All you have to do is tweet them at FS Southwest. #UIL on Fox. State your question and your name, and we will use the best ones on the air. Jump on the social universe. We want to hear from you. Let's take a break on the Ford halftime show. Coming up next, we'll take a look at the Thursday night late game. No doubt, the East Bernard Brahmas are the best in the state. We take a look at how they capped off the perfect 15-0 season after this short timeout. We're at halftime in Arlington, Texas. At Cowboys Stadium, Cameron Yoe with a huge first quarter took advantage of a couple of major Daingerfield mistakes, up 21-0 after the first, and they lead it 28-7 at the half. Well, we continue the Ford halftime show. Randy Rogers of RandyRogersRecruiting.com. Check him out on Twitter as well. And wow, Cameron Yoe in position for their first state championship in 31 years. As we look at these second half adjustments here, can Daingerfield get back into this one?
I think Daingerfield's got to do two things. Number one, they've got to cover the slot receivers. They've left the slot receivers uncovered. Cameron Yoe with Capriva really getting the ball out. The other thing I think Daingerfield's got to do is they've got to get on the board a couple of times early. They're not built to play from behind. They have a lot of athletes to run the football. They got to get a couple scores right away in the third quarter.
Yoemen got it going on all weekend. The social universe universe is blowing up with your questions for Randy Rogers. And make sure you tweet them at FS Southwest. Use hashtag UIL on Fox. We want to hear from you. That's it for the Ford Halftime Show. We're counting you down to the second half action of the Class 2A Division I title game. Daingerfield may have the 6 rings, but it's Yoemen's work so far. We'll see you later. Enjoy the second half.
High School Scoreboard Live, Saturday at midnight on Fox Sports Southwest.
Halftime here at Cowboys Stadium in Arlington. The Yoemen of Cameron Yoe leading Daingerfield by a score of 28-7 here. The 2A Division I State High School Football Championship of Texas, presented by State Farm. Craig Way, Travis Stewart with you here, and this game got off to a lightning fast start for Cameron Yoe. Defensively and taking advantage of mistakes in the special teams by Daingerfield. That really set the tone for this early.
All three phases have been clicking very well for Cameron Yoe, and they're a team that started fast a lot this year with that high-flying spread. They've also got a lot of production out of the ground game, but most importantly, the defense and special teams have stepped up and made plays whenever Daingerfield have left them out there for them.
We began the telecast by talking about the defense of Cameron Yoe when it came to fruition on the first offensive play from scrimmage for Daingerfield.
Zach Raiola steps in on zone coverage and picks off a pass that would set up a touchdown throw here to Zach Feltz. And again, Daingerfield in position to make a play. Just didn't happen as Feltz falls into the end zone. And then here on the punt, this one will officially go down as a fumble as Macias can't get it away off the wrong foot. And big nose guard Edgar Luna swoops in and gets a touchdown. And when Yoe was back on offense this time, it was Denayo on a big run right up the gut. Just again, all three phases. We've seen a defense play. We've seen a special teams play. We've seen an offensive play. It's been all areas for Yoe red hot, Craig.
It was late in the first half when Daingerfield was finally able to get something going, but not before there was more Cameron Yoe defense. And it was just tough for them to get a consistent ground attack going.
And one of the things that really helped Daingerfield was field position. Now they have a lot more green to work behind them with. They're not in the shadow of their own goal line, and they can look deep to Sean Hooks because they have time for that play. And they go to Sean Hooks again in the middle, and he was definitely a second quarter adjustment. Sardinia decided to bring him in and utilize him more on offense.
For first half stats, you'd expect Cameron Yoe to be dominating statistically, and they are. The 2 turnovers also hurting the Tigers.
The thing that's odd so far about this game is both teams fairly disjointed offensively. Only one drive for either side has lasted longer than 6 plays. It was Cameron Yoe. They went 9. Didn't even get a touchdown out of it.
So as a result of that, it is a lead of 21 points for the Yoemen as they're up by a score of 28-7. And what about the keys in the second half for Daingerfield?
It's all X's and O's adjustments. Hate to be that plain and dry, but that's it. Daingerfield at the end of the second half, the end of the second quarter, they went with 4 corners over 4 wide receivers, something they weren't doing earlier in the first half. It worked better. And then Cameron Yoe countered by going to the draw play. When Daingerfield ran their defense off, Yoe would try and get that handoff underneath and pick up chunks of 10 or 12 yards. That started working. So now the ball's back in Daingerfield's court. They're going to start with the ball offensively. They need to score. That'd be huge. But defensively, they're going to have to get stops. And so far, Yoe has always been one play ahead of this chess match so far.
Cameron Yoe has one state championship in school history. It was 31 years ago in 1981 when Yoe was a 3A school and won the 3A state title over Gilmer. The Buckeyes, of course, are in the game that follows this. Gilmer playing for the 3A Division II crown as they'll take on Navasota. Daingerfield, of course, one of the top teams of the decade of the 80s. That 1983 Tiger team that yielded a grand total of 8 points was something else. Won the state championship in 83, lost to Medina Valley in 84, came back in 85 and won over Cuero. And that's where we are as we get ready to start the third quarter. So Gilmer, Navasota, the game to follow this one. And then Lancaster and Cedar Park. Now that game tonight will be seen on Fox Sports Southwest if you're in Dallas Mavericks and San Antonio Spurs market coverage area, because those 2 teams are in action tonight. But you can catch the Lancaster Cedar Park game on Fox Sports Southwest. Plus, Gilmer, Navasota coming up next after this right here on Fox Sports Southwest.
So if you're Daingerfield offensively now, what worked for you late in the first half was Edwin Mims at quarterback. Harris Alexander had good moments, but Mims was the guy that seemed to be the stabling presence, the trigger man when they went back to the ground game, either with Sean Hooks or 2 or 3 of their other backs who have been effective. But it was Hooks and Mims who really seemed like they hit their stride late. I would expect, as we see Mims already set back to return on this kickoff, I would expect that we'll see those 2 guys involved pretty early.
Well, and for the Tigers, Ray Wallace, along with Edwin Mims, back deep to receive the kick, and Calvin Bryant. Michael Levon to kick it off for the Yoemen. So Cameron Yoe in search of its first state championship in 31 years and only the second in school history. Of course, they lost to Daingerfield 2 years ago in the 2A Division I title. Bryant fields the kickoff, and it'll be good starting field position for the Tigers. Out over the 35-yard line, and Bryant brings it back in a good starting position for Daingerfield.
We haven't talked about this Daingerfield offensive line much today, but now's as good a time as any. Because they didn't have a great first half as the Yo defensive front really controlled the Tiger ground game. But this was a unit, as you take a look at Malik Ellis there, big body right in the middle. This is a unit that Coach Sardinia said at the beginning of the year needed to be the group that held the bag. They needed to be the bell cows to get this offense going early on.
So from the Tiger 37, Mims back in at quarterback, directing a little traffic back of the backfield there. He's got his fullback Justin Taylor in position now, and Mims looking to throw. On the run, downfield, and the catch made by Sean Hooks. It's the combination of which you spoke, Travis. Sean Hooks getting involved in the act, this time to the tune of 36 yards.
And it's just single coverage on the outside, and Hooks is going to make you pay on that quite a bit because he's got that straight line speed. Colton Labai, Cameron Yo's cornerback in that picture, that's their best guy. It's their top guy. But even in single coverage, Hooks is going to get you sometimes. He gets the inside shoulder, and it's a really good throw from Mims. It's not quite across his body, but it's close. That's a tough, long throw.
It's at the 27-yard line of the Yoemen. Mims this time a straight run. Bounced off a tackle, but lost the football. Loose in the end zone. It'll be recovered for a touchback. Tyler Sapp falls on the football, and when Daingerfield had it going, they lose it on the turnover. Sapp with the recovery, and Yo will get it at its own 20-yard line.
It's the spin move that does it to him. He's spinning off this tackle, and as he spins, the momentum coupled with, it's like the defender just got a finger in there, just pops that ball out.
And look at the heads-up play by Sapp here. He kind of scoops it toward the end zone so that it'll be a touchback and recovers it in the end zone instead of, say, at the 1 or 2 yard line.
He's got more presence of mind than I would have. Chasing down a ball knowing everyone in the blue jersey is coming after me, I'd be thinking about falling on a football.
So from the 20-yard line, Cameron Yo starts his second half. The turnovers have been a factor in this one. The first 2 leading to points, to touchdowns for Yo, and Keaton Denayo with the run, and a good first down run for Denayo. And Denayo with the gain of 8 yards, now over 100 yards rushing this afternoon. 102 yards on 9 carries for Keaton Denayo. And on second down and 2 is Denayo again, lowering the shoulder and more positive yardage. And just like that, a first down at the 40-yard line, a gain of 12. Sean Hooks on the tackle. Looks like Daingerfield's in business. Next thing you know, it's a turnover in 2 plays. Here are the Yoemen out at the 40-yard line.
And that was a devastating blow emotionally. And Yo's getting him, has got a chance here to really put their foot on the gas because they're in a hurry-up offense mode. They're moving very quickly right now, trying to take advantage of this.
Capriva in the shotgun with 4 wide receivers. Handed off again. And once more, Denayo on the carry, this time limited to just a 1-yard gain, as the Tigers had plenty of defenders nearby stringing out the play, and Kelshin Neal, a junior, forced him out of bounds.
And Denayo is a 1,000-yard rusher 2 years in a row, a first-team all-district guy a year ago. He's got a lot of ability. He's just perfectly okay with not getting 30, 40 carries a game.
And yet is still now over 1,300 rushing yards this season. Even in an offense that has seen Capriva throw for more than 3,000. Denayo again. And still running hard. And if Daingerfield can't slow him down, Cameron Yoe will continue to hand the football to number 6.
Do it until they stop it. That's football 101. And the left side of the offensive line where they've gone, each of the last couple plays, Denzel Haynes, the big left tackle, he's got plenty of space to go out and run and lay a block on somebody. The guard, Kyler Harrell and Denzel Haynes have been doing great work on the left side so far on this drive. That's a big boy right there.
3 plays have picked up 30 yards for Cameron Yoe. Out to midfield of the Yoemen. Their first possession of the third quarter after Daingerfield on the move turned the ball over for the 3rd time. This time, Capriva handing the ball to Denayo, and he's stopped by Calvin Bryant right at the line of scrimmage, no gain.
Calvin Bryant, the team's leading tackler coming into the year, more than 200 total tackles, 23.5 for loss coming into the game. A really special player, and even better, still just a junior. Got time to grow.
2nd and 10 from midfield. Capriva spreading the field to throw this time on the inside screen to Sheffield, but he can't hold it. Incomplete as he's trying to come back in on the bubble screen. Couldn't hold it. Incomplete, and it brings up 3rd down and 10 for the Yoemen.
And Ray Wallace in the area, he's had a busy day. And for a game where a lot has gone wrong for Daingerfield, that kid's been more or less right, Ray Wallace. He's had a strong game out in coverage. And really, the spread offense does one more thing to hurt Daingerfield we haven't talked about. Daingerfield's got incredible bulk in the middle of the defensive line. 2 guys that equal out to about 700 pounds. Can't really use them against the spread offense.
On 3rd down. Coming around. A reverse. And across midfield was Sims. But again, the Tigers react and hold him to a 7-yard gain. Bryant the tackle. It will bring up 4th down.
We sure that's a linebacker? That looks like a safety coming in that hot. And that's a great tackle, because if he doesn't make it, it's a 1st down. And all of a sudden, Yoe's driving inside your 40-yard line. You got problems if they don't score outright right there. So Calvin Bryant coming in and making that play is key. He's also a kick returner. He's got 6 rushes on the year. He can do a lot for a team.
Technically, an end around, since it was a fake handoff to Denayo and not a handoff followed by a hand to the sweeper around the corner, and a fake punt on 4th down, and the catch made right at the marker by Colton Sheffield.
They're going to give it to him. The far side spot gave it to him. They're already moving the chains. And that is why a quarterback who can punt is so devastating. And Craig, again, how often in a game do you talk about special teams this many times? But we've had 2 punts down deep in Daingerfield territory. We had the fumble recovery for a touchdown by the special teams unit. We have a fake punt execution now. We have a big kickoff return off the fake handoff on the kick return. Special teams have been brilliant for the Yoemen.
Making a huge difference. Back to the ground to Denayo. Kelson Neal on the tackle, but it's a pickup of 4. And it's 2nd down and 6. Cameron Yoe quite content to be able to mix the run and the pass, move the ball, keep the clock moving, try to add to a 21-point lead here in the 3rd quarter.
With that ground game churning them up, they went away from the 4 corners look for a while. Going to open it back here again with Ray Wallace in that near side slot.
On 2nd down and 6. Capriva sets up the screen that will lose yardage to Aaron Sims. A loss of 2 on the play. Strung out nicely. Jonathan Barber, the inside linebacker, one of the Tigers to get in on the tackle.
This game feels a little bit like the one we had last night, Craig. We had one team jump out to a quick lead. And Daingerfield starts trying to claw their way back, but it always feels like there's something. There's some element, one play that keeps them from getting over the hump. It always seems like they're in their own way.
3rd down and 8 for Cameron Yoe. Capriva to the air again, and off the fingertips of Sheffield, who was coming up the sidelines. Pretty well covered by Sean Hooks. Could not come up with it, and it now brings up 4th down.
And I guess decision time. You're inside Daingerfield's 40. Got 8 yards to go, but you got a great quarterback who you trust. I would suspect at this point it's a quick kick. Capriva's already shown the ability twice today to make those beautiful little pooches right down inside the 10 or at the 10-yard line. Bet you they're going to do it again.
So Capriva, who is punted 3 times, averaging 33 yards per kick, does so again, and this time gets another great kick. This thing is going to be down at the 2-yard line. It's a 35-yard executed beauty. Like we said, he doesn't have a booming leg. It hasn't had to have one today. It has been all about target practice, and he's been able to put it right down at the 2-yard line.
Every military force needs a sniper, and that's what that leg has been. He's been painfully accurate. And the hard thing is getting a ball to die or bounce the right way when you punt it like that. A lot of times, just boot it and it rolls through the back of the end zone. But either have to put a little bit of side spin on it or end over end, trying to get that ball to just sit where you landed. And Capriva's got that down pat. Let's not forget, this guy's still a junior. You may be looking at your first team AP All-State guy next year.
From deep in their own end of the field and out of his own end zone, Karis Alexander throwing under pressure, tipped and caught. Oh my goodness, what a catch made by Edwin Mims. That was not the way it was drawn up, but it will go for 12 yards and a first down.
If you're Daingerfield, I think this is a good time to press the tempo, because you know what? You just got a gift here. That ball fought for, kept alive, and then it falls into Mims's hands. That should have been picked off twice, just like you draw it up in practice, right? Is that what it looks like on the wristband?
Yeah, Jalen White had the first shot at it for Cameron Yoe. Zach Raiola was right there. He already has an interception today, but couldn't hold it. And Edwin Mims off the second Cameron Yoe tip comes up with a catch in a 12-yard gain. Now, Mims on the keeper only for a yard to the 15. Jonathan Riggs bringing him down.
Daingerfield's done a pretty good job of neutralizing Edgar Luna today. He had the fumble recovery for a touchdown on special teams. But as far as defense goes, they've done a pretty good job of limiting his impact. But it's been at the expense of all the other guys that have found ways to make an impact today. Jonathan Riggs, one of them. We've called Randall Lane's name a couple times today. Samari Wright's had a big day. Zach Raiola's got an interception. List goes on.
2nd down and 9. And a quick swing pass outside. Oh, what a hit. Right in the chop. Sean Hooks getting it from Colt Labai. A loss of a yard. Justin Pratt, rather, comes over and hits him and loses a yard.
That is a stick. That is how you make a tackle. Head up. Look them all the way in. They say you never make a tackle with a smile on your face. Man, I want to hear that with the natural sound. We heard that all the way up in the booth. That was a pop.
Top of the pass. Fortunately, everybody's okay. And it's back to being 3rd down and 10 for the Tigers. Mims, draw, trouble, and he'll go down for a loss. Bumped into a teammate, and then Samari Wright handled the rest, a loss of 4 yards.
And every now and again, when a defensive lineman gets a great push, he'll have an offensive lineman in the backfield. And that's when things really go south, because now you have to dodge your own guy in the backfield, and that's what happened there. I believe it was Randall Lane.
It's Willie Evans, and it's hard to dodge Willie.
Yeah, Willie's over 300 pounds by a long shot. He's one of the biggest guys in Class 2A. He's in the backfield, and Mims had to step around him before he could go anywhere.
Macias fields another high snap. Kick comes away, and does manage to get off a kick after all of that with all the pressure. A nice job by Carlos Macias, and this thing will roll all the way down to the 48-yard line. Did a good job for that one. A little over 41 yards on the punt, but good field position for the Yoemen when we come back. The pom-poms and megaphones were arranged very neatly in hopes of a state championship right around the corner. Well, still some work to do for Cameron Yoe, but the Yoemen up 28-7. Late stages of the 3rd quarter. Cameron starting with good field position. Back on the ground to Keaton Denayo. Gain of 3 yards. Tackle made by Trey Taylor.
And Daingerfield has a pretty remarkable title game history. I mean, they've been in it, seems like constantly. This is their 9th title game appearance. A lot of teams are lucky to have 1 or 2. They've got 6 that they've won. They've lost 2 more. They lost one in 98, 84. And this one not going their way right now. But still, 9 title game appearances. That's remarkable.
Back at 84, losing in a big surprise, a little squad from Castroville. Medina Valley. Dragons came in and made the big upset, got the win over the defending state champions. Big run there by Denayo, who's adding to his rushing total. Ruben Mims on the tackle, 15 yards for Keaton Denayo.
And again, you want to fake that pass, and that ball goes right to Denayo. As Capriva steps back to show the pass, that direct snap, devastating. Rick Rhodes is really making a name for himself as a play caller today.
Quick hit out to Austin Christie. And that's near another first down. Sean Hooks on the stop. And that's enough for another first down.
Rick Rhodes has a history of offense as we look at his counterpart, Eric Sardinia, at Daingerfield. Rick Rhodes has a history with offense. One of his former pupils is now a head coach at an in-state FBS college. We'll give you the trivia answer to that next.
First and 10 at the 20. I really love accidental trivia. There's the handoff. And that's inside the 15-yard line again. Denayo's the rushing total climbs.
So we told you Rick Rhodes coached a guy who's now a head coach at an in-state college. That would be Cliff Kingsbury. Rick Rhodes was an assistant at New Braunfels when Cliff Kingsbury was there, and obviously Kingsbury at age 33 just took over at Texas Tech. So Rick Rhodes, between Kingsbury and his own son Jack, who is an all-stater, and now Capriva, that man knows quarterbacks.
Second down and 2 from the 14. Capriva, the fade in the end zone, unable to hold on to it is Tyler Sapp. Had it in and out of his hands. Troy Stewart on the defense.
That would have been pretty spectacular. That would have been a pretty spectacular catch. Single coverage on the outside. Pretty well covered. A little physical. Just going to dribble off the fingers. But Yo's still in great position to put another score on the board. And if they do, that would make it, assuming with an extra point, 35-7. With only about a minute, 2 minutes left in the third quarter. It would take something superhuman from Daingerfield to make this happen in the fourth then.
Third down and 2. This time handing off, coming the other way, then bobbling it, getting it back is Felts, and after all is said and done, he has a touchdown. A 14-yard run by Felts to take it into the end zone.
And there's nothing I love more than a wide receiver who will get his jersey dirty and block downfield. And that's what you got from Austin Christie. Watch as this is the reverse play. You see Austin Christie 1 at the top of your screen and number 4. They all lay the lumber. And when you can block guys downfield in a spread offense, you will get yards in bunches. So if you're a young wide receiver out there, you're making a name for yourself in the high school or JV ranks, learn how to block downfield aggressively. It will behoove you later on.
And that's all. And all Zach Felts had to do after that was hold on to the football, which was a little bit bobbled and dicey at first, but he pulled it back in. Take a look at this. Felts, a little bobble, but in for the score and a 35-7 lead.
It's Houston versus the DF Dub in Class 5A Division I. Great game Saturday night. Just when you thought the games couldn't get any better, they do. Allen has weathered all the Dallas heavyweights to be in position for their second title in 4 years, while Houston Lamar is looking to do what no Houston ISD team has done in 27 years. That's take home the UIL trophy. Join us for the biggest game of the biggest classification, Saturday night at 8 on Fox Sports Southwest.
The UIL High School Football State Championships all weekend on Fox Sports Southwest.
$35-7, the lead for Cameron Yoe on top of Daingerfield, and another impressive drive for the Yoemen. You were taking note of it at halftime, Travis, that both of these teams, when they have scored, and only the one for Daingerfield, but they're scoring quickly, and that was another one, just 2 minutes and a tick off the clock.
And they've really done it with the ground game. For a team that throws as much as Yo does, Denayo's been spectacular. He's over 100 yards rushing. They've given Felts several carries now on either reverse or an end around. He's delivered on a touchdown on one of them. They've really pounded Daingerfield in the ground, and that's an adjustment for this Yo team. They had to make that call as this game went along, and it's played off quite well.
Feeling it over the shoulder is Bryant, and then breaking tackles. Bryant still on his feet and out near midfield. There is a flag down thrown way back upfield. Let's see what the effect of this is. It was a 39-yard return.
It'd be in the area of offsides almost.
Yeah.
Offside on the kicking team. 5 yards tacked on and in the run. First down.
So a 39-yard return. 5 yards added to it.
Yep, just a little bit. Right there. You could see it coming early. As both of those two guys took a quick step. He was a little bit too geeked up. It's the only special teams error for Yo today. They've been spectacular in that oft-forgotten, frequently overlooked third phase of the game.
So the football is at the Cameron Yo 45-yard line as Daingerfield again tries to get something going. Here's Mims. The blocker in front, cutting it inside, and he'll pick up 5 yards before Samari Wright and Edgar Luna team up on the tackle for the Yoemen.
Samari's hurt.
Slow to get up.
Officials timeout.
Well, he stopped it for a moment because Wright was down, but he is back up. Now will come off the field.
And they just went with Mims on a power play that time. Ran everybody to the right. Your only job is put a hat on somebody. You've got a certain somebody you're supposed to put a hat on, but that's your job, is put a hat on somebody.
2nd down and 5 for Daingerfield. Hand off to Cordarius Anderson, but nowhere for Anderson to go. They'll mark him at the line of scrimmage, no gain. Zach Raiola, Michael Levon on the tackle for Cameron Yo.
And that time they brought a big guard around to try and get a lead block, but the run was already outside before the guard was even there. It's a fast running back, but the defense was able to adjust to it. Raiola's right there to clean it up.
Now brings up 3rd down and 5 for the Tigers. Mims remains at quarterback on 3rd down, so they've quite often gone back to Karis Alexander in passing situations. But on 3rd and 5, you have the option of either, and Mims is looking to throw. Does across the middle, the catch, and a 1st down. Still on his feet is Takima Wilson. He'll pick up 13 yards before Samari Wright, who went back onto the field, make the play.
And this shows you how much the coaching staff thinks of Mims. He came in the game with only 50 attempts on the year. Karis Alexander has 238. But with the game on the line and knowing that they need to be throwing the football, it's Mims right now.
Inside 30 seconds remaining 3rd quarter. Daingerfield down 4 scores for the 2nd time in this football game. Mims on the pump fake and then down the sidelines on the double move, and Justin Pratt did not fall for it. Almost an interception as he was defending the intended target, Sean Hooks.
And Mims, as you see the pump and go, as Craig was saying, trying to get the open man on the double route. Mims is one of those guys, Sardinia says, that whatever you tell them in the locker room, whatever you lay out for him in practice and in drills, he can actually translate that to the field 100% of the time. And those players are hard to find. He can do that.
2nd and 10. And Mims will reverse the field and will run. Turn in the corner. And Mims, an excellent job of freelancing all the way down close to the 10-yard line. Samari Wright with a tackle to be 1st down.
And they know when they bring in Karis, a little more accurate. He's only named the starter halfway through the year. He's a little more accurate, a better pure passer. But Mims gives you that kind of intangible because Karis is not known for the running skills like Mims is.
Mims just picked up 18. And it's 1st and goal for Daingerfield at the Cameron Yo 10-yard line. And what should be the final play of the 3rd quarter. For the end zone and open for the scorer, Sean Hooks. Hooks with his 2nd touchdown of the day. Both of Daingerfield's touchdowns, and they score in the final play of the 3rd quarter.
And he had his druthers. The two farthest wide receivers ran the same route on the other side of the field. They both ran corners. Hooks was wide open, and the wide receiver on the left was wide open too. I actually never saw Hooks. I was looking to the left, and when the ball went right, I caught my breath and thought, oh no, he missed a wide open man, but turns out Hooks was open too. Good play.
And the snap dropped or a fake, and trouble right now. Pass is caught, and it's going to be well short. After Ruben Mims picked up the snap, rolled out in the throw, and the conversion is no good. So we've come to the end of the third quarter. Cameron Yoe still in command of the 2A Division I state championship with a 35-13 lead on Daingerfield. And now, a special message from DQ. The UIL Texas State High School Football Championship is brought to you by State Farm. Visit texas.statefarm.com to score the ultimate VIP experience. By DQ, for the best tasting treats, eats, and drinks in Texas, DQ just tastes better. And by Ford. Stop by your Texas Ford dealer and find out why the F-Series trucks are the best in Texas. Craig Way alongside Travis Stewart, Ahmad Brooks, and our Fox Sports Southwest State Championship telecast crew from Cowboys Stadium in Arlington. We begin the fourth quarter. Game number 1, day number 2 of the UIL State High School Football Championships. Daingerfield scoring on the final play of the third quarter, and the Tigers with the kickoff. It is a reverse on the kick return. Austin Christie across the 15 as Daingerfield not fooled, and the Tigers downfield the tackle, 15-yard return. So, Travis, the Tigers were narrow a 28-point halftime margin to 22, but it took them all of the third quarter to do it now. So they've got to make up 22 points in just under 12 minutes.
And they're looking at a grim fate right now, because if there's one thing that Yoe's done very well in the second half, it's run the football. And they've stayed in bounds. They've ran in between the tackles. They've got the setup right now, if the game's played out in the next few minutes the way it has up to this point, they're going to grind a lot of clock off here. We may see our actual first long drive of the game.
Daingerfield had 115 yards of total offense in the third quarter. A good sign for them because they only had 102 total yards at halftime. But now the Tiger defense has to come to the fore, and right away Capriva attacks it with a pass to Austin Christie and a gain of nearly 8 yards on first down.
And you may be wondering, well, why are they not running the ball there? Well, honestly, that short little hitch route, that's as good as a handoff. I mean, almost any quarterback out there can turn around and make that throw. Most wide receivers can turn around, show the numbers, and make that catch. It's as good as a handoff.
It's at the 27-yard line. So a pickup of 11 and a first down. And this time, Capriva to run it himself. A gain of 4 to the 31. Calvin Bryant, the stop for the Tigers.
You don't see that very often. He doesn't run the football all that much. They don't need him to, really. He was almost a 2,000-yard passer last year, was Capriva. This year he came into the game, only 70 attempts on the year, but only 40 yards total. A lot of that's going to be some sack yardage and such. He's got 10 touchdowns. It's just with Raiola back there, or with Denayo back there, and with all these wide receivers they can split into the backfield or bring around in the jet sweeps. They don't need him to use his wheels much.
Only a junior is Jason Capriva. He'll be back for this Yoe Ball Club next year, then cuts across the 35 to the 36 and near another first down. Tyrodrick Mims on the tackle.
You're going to say this is going to be a really short third down. And all that we've said over the past couple minutes about Yoe and their opportunity to run some clock and drive the football, if Daingerfield gets a stop here and a score, we've got a football game.
Third down and 1. Handoff, and this is going to be short of the first down. Denayo stopped short, and it'll bring up 4th down and 1. Jacoby Simpson plugging the hole there, and it's 4th down and 1 for the Yoemen.
And Kelshan Neal slips in there right away. I mean, right at the snap, he beats his man immediately in the backfield to bring up that 4th down. Yoe is trotting out a punt formation right now in Daingerfield as the clock ticks under 10 minutes. Now they've suddenly got a little bit of life. If you score, you're still down by anywhere between 15 or 14, but at least you're back in it. And with these skilled players on the outside, can move quickly.
And before they get going, this is going to be a penalty, I think, for delay of game against Yo. I don't think the Yoemen got the snap away in time.
Delay game on the offense. 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Turns 4th and 1 into 4th and 6. Rick Rhodes not happy.
Another special teams error, odd with the way the game started. And now as Daingerfield, we think, is about to get the ball back, we have an interesting point to consider. Mims has been the more successful quarterback, but he's also your most talented downfield threat. So do you want to leave him there in the backfield, or you want to try and put him out wide and pick up yardage in bunches? Or I guess you can just get a punt return for a touchdown here.
I started to say, that's Eric Sardinia's. Sardinia's answer is to say, well, let's see him bring a punt back for a score. Capriva to kick it. Mims will run under it, but has to let it bounce, and it'll be down at the 34-yard line of Daingerfield, a 34-yard punt. So 9:27 to go in the game. Not only does Daingerfield have to score, Travis, they need to do it relatively quickly here to get this to a 2-score game.
And most football fans dread the protect defense. The old phrase is that it protects you from winning. But in this situation, up 22 as you are, it almost makes sense to drop a couple guys deep, protect the sidelines, funnel everything into the middle, chew a bunch of time off, let them pick up some yards underneath. You can always play the way you've been playing an attack and maybe be successful. But the protect is appealing right now.
It is Mims at quarterback. Looking for a receiver off a double move, but pressure coming, and then does a good job to get rid of the football. Randall Lane really bearing down on Edwin Mims.
And actually the guy that did a heck of a job there was Zach Raiola downfield, because Mims went with the same route he looked at earlier, which was the double move on the right side and single coverage. Even though the receiver did a pretty good job of selling it, Raiola was all over it. I mean, there wasn't even a room to fit a nickel in there. You couldn't have put anything in there. He was all over the wide receiver, and only after the wide out started coming back to the play was Raiola a step behind it. But on the deep move, he was all there.
2nd down and 10 from the 34. Pass, and a nice catch made by Takima Wilson, turning on the coverage outside, and picked up 12 yards and a 1st down.
Man, it sure doesn't look like Edwin Mims is not the starting quarterback. He is making some great throws, and Edgar Luna immediately beat Dublin off the snap and was in the backfield and forced a quick throw, and Mims just roped it. That's a heck of a toss.
So from the Tiger 46, Mims on the rollout this time. And downfield, that's caught. Had Sean Hooks behind the defense. Hooks with another big catch for Daingerfield. This one for 25 yards.
And it wasn't there early. Hooks was not open to begin with on the deep route. It's only as Mims started to buy time did Hooks slip behind someone. That's another pretty good throw. But you have to give credit to Hooks, who's had a nice game today as a two-way star, making an impact offensively. That kid's going to be exhausted by the end of the day.
At the Cameron Yo 27. Flag down. Mims with a lot of pressure coming. He'll go down. Brought down by Samari Wright, who's having an excellent day. He loses 10 yards.
Let's take a look at Sean Hooks for Daingerfield and some of the work he's done today, both on offense and defense. Get him on the end around. Some good running. Then they had him on the deep route here in one-on-one coverage. He beats the man over the top.
5-yard penalty, 1st down.
And then the interior running here that led to the touchdown. Lots of broken tackles. For a guy that's supposed to be a cornerback, which in nowadays era of football is all about speed and not about physicality, this kid, the senior, 5'6", 150, he sure has had a nice game. Look at that stat line. Go home happy with that.
Tigers, by the way, pick up a break. Cameron Yo was offsides on the prior play, and right back at it, it's Takima Wilson with a catch, and it takes it all the way down close to the 10-yard line. Another 1st down, so that 10-yard sack is wiped off the books due to the offsides call, and then to Wilson down to the 10-yard line. It's 1st and goal for Daingerfield.
Mims is in rhythm.
Mims again to the end zone. Caught. Wilson, touchdown, Tigers.
Well, hello, Takima Wilson. 2 big catches in a row at the most critical juncture of the game. They've only gotten 1 ball out to you all day. You haven't seen a lot of passes all season long. With the game on the line, they go to you on the fade route in one-on-one coverage. Just plays physical with a safety over the top and holds on through the leg. That kid, he's had a heck of a run here in the fourth quarter already.
Daingerfield will look just for the single conversion here. Try to bring it back to a 15-point deficit. And Messiah's kick is good. So, 8:32 to go in the game. And the Tigers are slowly climbing back into it. The touchdown catch by Wilson makes it 35-20 Cameron Yoe.
Our football triple-header on Friday continues with the Class 3A Division I crown at 4 p.m. What a matchup between 15-0 Navasota and one-loss Gilmer. Navasota has made headlines all year as the #1 team in the state, while Gilmer has 2 UIL trophies this past decade with 2009 the latest. The Buckeyes are road-tested and know how to win this time of year. Join us at 4 Friday afternoon from Cowboys Stadium for the Buckeyes and the Rattlers.
High School Scoreboard Live, Saturday at midnight on Fox Sports Southwest.
The UIL Texas State High School Football Championship is brought to you by State Farm. Visit texas.statefarm.com to score the ultimate VIP experience. By DQ, for the best tasting treats, eats, and drinks in Texas, DQ just tastes better. And by Ford. There's a reason why Ford is the best in Texas. Stop by your Ford dealer and drive one. Well, there's some hope now for the Daingerfield Tigers. Here at Cowboys Stadium in Arlington, Daingerfield has scored 13 unanswered points. The Tigers back within 15, 35-20. It'll be a deep kickoff. And everybody stop. A flag goes down. Everybody just froze for a moment as the kickoff came.
5-yard penalty for kicking the ball before it was blown ready for play.
Haven't seen that one before.
Okay. They put it on the tee. They not signal ready for play. That technically is a delay of game is what that penalty is. But you're right. You don't often see that.
Well, maybe element of the TV game. Kids aren't used to having their games on TV, coming in and out of commercial breaks and whatnot. Sometimes you get you tripped up. What we noticed on that last drive, Craig, is that Daingerfield turned to the seniors. There's a lot of times what you do in these big games because the seniors realize this is the last game of football I'm ever going to play, and I don't want to go out a loser. And something snaps inside a kid. Brings out the best of them a lot of times. They come out and they play hard, and that was Mims, the senior at quarterback. That was Wilson, the senior out at wide receiver. That was Hooks, the senior out at wide receiver. That senior-laden offensive line stepping up. A lot of veteran presences really stepped up on that last drive, and now they've given themselves a chance with 8 and change.
Still waiting to re-kick this, and the flag that was thrown, by the way, is still laying on the field.
I'm not sure what they're discussing.
Did someone forget it? Well, and I'm wondering if, and maybe the crew is discussing this as well, whether Daingerfield should actually be penalized to 5 yards. No matter, they will be. It's walked off now, and they're going to step it off. It can be construed as a delay of game, and that's why the flag was thrown. So Macias will kick it off, this time from 5 yards further back. And Cameron Yoe still coming up close, not expecting the deep kick. It's a little pop-up kick, and catch made at the 46-yard line. Cameron Yoe wanting a flag thrown, saying that this should have been a fair catch awarded to Michael Gellner, who made the catch.
And if we have another shot of that, maybe a hero there could be number 2 for Cameron Yoe, Jalen White, who at the last second sprints up to the line, starts waving off the other return man, says, no, you stay deep, but this is going to be an onside kick. He comes way up. You can hear him yelling at all the guys up, all the upbacks in front of him to say, watch for that onside. There it was, and Yoe played it perfectly.
Well, Gellner did signal for the fair catch, and it is being walked off. Here's the call. We'll step that off, and that's a big penalty. That catch interference.
Personal foul. Call for a fair catch signal. First down, 15 yards, first down.
Watch Gellner with the arm up.
Now, the rule is that it has to get above your head. You have to wave those arms above your head. He clearly did that. Just came in aggressive, trying to pop a ball out. I guess he just didn't see the signal.
It's a fair catch interference call. Goes for 15 yards and a first down. Yo at the 37-yard line. Tiger defense swarming to the cause as Trey Traylor and Corey Smith team up to stop Denio.
And realistically, Daingerfield, they can't give up a yard. They definitely can't give up a first down, or else you're in field goal range for Avon's leg. Right now at about the 35, they got to get a stop right here.
Second down and 8. Denio up to 136 rushing yards on 18 carries, including a 31-yard touchdown run. Capriva look to throw over the middle. Nice catch and a first down at the 25 by Aaron Sims.
Wow. Tight man coverage. He knows he's going to take a hit. And as a wide receiver, when you start moving across the middle like that with your eyes in the backfield waiting for the ball, you expect you're going to get drilled in that situation. You expect it. And the great wide receivers can still get their arms out, bring that ball in, and not be afraid to take the knock.
So the sophomore with a catch, a 10-yard pickup. Football is at the 25-yard line of Daingerfield. Direct snap this time, but Daingerfield not fooled as Denio received the direct snap. Trey Taylor stopping Keaton Denio for no gain.
Trey Traylor, another senior along that front. Haven't heard his name much today. The Yo's really spread out and used their speed all the way across the field. But now with the ball sitting at about the 25-yard line, it's still a long field goal range, but Daingerfield's in dangerous territory as this clock ticks under 7 minutes now. Yo gets a field goal. It's an 18-point game. That's a 3-score ball game.
Second and 10. This time, Denio again surging forward and takes it down to the 20-yard line. Calvin Bryant holding on, and Denio continues to just pound away for tough yards. 2 yards here, 5 yards there.
Dinkin and Duncan makes a great first step. I mean, the first step out of the gates. He's got 2 people playing from behind now. Just a really good quick cut just to get those 4 or 5 yards. And really in these title games, it's usually about those 4 or 5 yards, not always about the 50 or 60.
Easily the most important third down of the ball game, certainly for Daingerfield. 3rd and 5 for Cameron Yo at the Tiger 20. And that might have been a false start call against the Yoemen.
Yeah, I think they had motion in the middle of the line.
Dead ball. False start on the offense. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
It turns 3rd and 5 into 3rd and 10 from the 25-yard line.
And that's colossal, not just from the yardage standpoint, but it also pushes any potential field goal attempt back 5 yards. And in 2A football, 5 yards can be a big difference.
Just under half of this final quarter remaining in the state championship. And Daingerfield in need of a stop. Cameron Yo, which has had 7 penalties today, trying to move the chains and continue their drive toward a state championship. They led all the way, led by as many as 28 points twice. Capriva to throw. Outside and too much on that one. Incomplete. Christie the intended target. Now 4th down for Cameron Yo at the 25.
This is tough. It depends on how confident you are in Avon.
Well, he's coming on.
Well, they know 18 points with 5.5 left. That's not done. But a 3-score ball game is colossally different than a 2-score ball game right now.
And no doubt about it. So here's Avon, the junior. And it'll be a 42-yard field goal try. Capriva is holding. As Avon looks to make it a 3-score lead. This kick on the way. And did it go in? It did. How about Avon bending it inside for the field goal to make it a 38-20 lead?
And if that does end up holding up, it's a fitting end because special teams comes up one more time for Cameron Yo. Is that one, the kiss, clips off the post and through. Look at that.
It's a very, very big field goal there. Well, that's a big play, but how about some of our other DQ big plays of the game? Turned in by the Cameron Yoe defense.
Zach Royola stepping up early on with a big interception to set up a short touchdown for Cameron Yoe early. Then it was the fumbled punt with Edgar Luna falling on it. That gave them a 14-0 lead essentially right out of the gate. And then this big field goal we just had off the left upright and through to make it an 18-point game with under 6 minutes left to play. And now it's time to make hay for Daingerfield. At this point, it's all got to be big strikes. It all has to move quickly. With 3 timeouts left, you got some time to work with, but you can't play with it.
Check that football for optic yellow paint on it. It glanced off the upright.
That's not highlighter yellow. I think that's a color now. It's
there you go.
Yellow.
You're right.
And there it is.
Got the right carom off of that.
So I wonder now, Yoe kind of went into a softer protect defense on the last drive. Daingerfield came right down the field and scored. I wonder if Yoe will go back to be more aggressive, even up by 3 scores now. That was what worked for them earlier in the game. I wonder if they'll look for it again.
Little pooch kick down the middle, bobbled, then picked up by Bryant. Calvin Bryant brought down at about the 31-yard line. 5:20 to go, and that field goal certainly damaging to Daingerfield's comeback hopes. Had it missed, Daingerfield would have had the football at the 25-yard line, down 2 scores with some hope. Would have to be very, very quickly now. Calvin Bryant, by the way, had to limp off the field, so he'll go to the bench.
And I'm sure they've got to go with Mims again here at quarterback. Even though he's your top wideout overall, you've essentially got to keep him in the backfield. He's been so good in this second half back there. His throws have been accurate, on time. He's got to be the guy. And he is again.
Yep, there he is. With 4 wide receivers. And then scrambling about, looking for a receiver. And unable to hold on to the football, coming back to try to make a catch was Hooks.
And I believe Jonathan Barber for Daingerfield is in agony right now because he broke open late on a very deep post route. It would have been a tough throw to get it there, but he was wide open. And if Mims just could have gotten it out of his hand, it would have been a touchdown probably. But he was just on the other side of the formation from where Mims had to roll because of the Yoe pressure.
2nd and 10. Into the air, and unable to come up with it was Takima Wilson, who's made some good catches today. That would have been spectacular had he been able to hold on.
He puts his hand on his chest and says, that one's on me. Should have caught it. Gets hard on himself. That's a tough catch. But now they're in 3rd and 10. And at some point, I mean, you have to consider this 4-down territory. It doesn't matter if you lose by 18 or 25. It's still a loss either way. So you got to think that they'll be looking at this as 2-down territory. Maybe something underneath their intermediate here, cut it in half, then try and swallow the rest of it on 4th down.
3rd and 10. Edwin Mims back to the air, and the catch made right at the 40-yard line by Hooks. We mentioned he's come up with some big ones, and he does there for 9 yards. And out of bounds, it is 4th down and 1 for Daingerfield. Wow, got the 1 set of toes down.
Nice drag by Sean Hooks. And now 4th and 1 is typically a running down. And they're in a full house.
Is a handoff, and breaking through is Hooks. Hooks still on his feet across midfield, and a 1st down. 15 yards for Sean Hooks. Michael Avon, who just had that field goal a few moments ago for Cameron Yoe, on the tackle for the Yoemen.
Once again on the interior, and everyone wins their matchup at the line of scrimmage. They only needed a yard. You got more than that. Now they're driving. Yoe territory.
1st and 10. Downfield. Oh, what a catch by Hooks. Still on his feet, out of bounds at the 25. 20 more yards for Sean Hooks.
And this has almost become a street ball game as Mims looks off the short route, and then Hooks decides, well, I got to run somewhere, so he runs deep, picks up a nice catch. But at this point, Mims and Hooks are almost just improvising. They're reading on almost every single snap, trying to find the soft spaces. It's almost like they're not even running plays anymore. They're just looking for each other.
Sean Hooks, 11 catches for 166 yards today. Mims, this time for Wilson with a catch. Still on his feet. Stood up, still moving, and then finally gang tackled around the 12-yard line. He was trying to get out of the grasp of Justin Pratt, who had some Yo teammates come down and make the tackle. Another move of the chains. Daingerfield has to move quickly, though. Down 3 scores, inside 4 minutes to play in the ball game.
And remember, if we can flash back to 2010, Yo came back in the 4th quarter and took a late lead before eventually losing. Now it's Daingerfield playing that role.
Mims. Dumping across the middle, had to get rid of the football. Jonathan Barber was nearest receiver to him, and Samari Wright had all the pressure on Mims.
Samari Wright steamrolled Mims. He was lucky to get that ball away, and Barber just never saw it, because normally when you drag that far across the formation, Barber started on one side, ended up all the way across the other. Ball's probably not coming to you at that point. Just don't know if he was looking for it.
Second down. From the 12. Mims now to the end zone and dropped in the end zone, nearly picked off. Well, a chance to come up with it was Jalen White.
Well, Hooks is a pretty good defensive back. This is the only time he's going to play defensive back on offense, because this ball should have been picked off. And Hooks comes in, just does whatever he can to break it up, sticks a hand in there and pokes that ball out at the last second away from Jalen White. That could be a game saver.
Ray Wallace, the intended receiver there for Daingerfield, and it's now 3rd and 10 for the Tigers from the Cameron Yo 12. Daingerfield's been much better in the second half, and having to climb out of a 35-7 hole, difficult to manage. Mims brought down by Wright. Boy, Samari Wright has been all around the football today.
And they had Ray Wallace targeting Wright all the way. That was the man he wanted to erase, and it looks like Mims may have some sort of cramp.
Official timeout.
It's right around that left hamstring as Samari Wright ran him down. So it'll bring up 4th down.
Oh, no. We just saw the replay on the big screen, and as Mims is dragged down, his left leg catches underneath him, and that knee's not supposed to bend like that. He's in a lot of pain. If you're squeamish, don't look. It's not supposed to go that way. He's grabbing at the hamstring, and that could be a strain, but that's not a cramp.
And you would hope, if it's something a little more serious, that it is indeed the hamstring and not the knee, as he was reaching back to the hamstring as that leg was extended. You see him reach back toward the hamstring area. Samari Wright made that hit, and you know, the UIL awards an offensive and defensive MVP, and I would be surprised if anyone other than Samari Wright picked up the defensive MVP honors. Our Ford Built Ford Tough player of the game this afternoon comes from the offensive side of the football, and obviously from Cameron Yo, and it's Keaton Denayo,
who had a great game today. Not the guy anyone was targeting coming in. We were all talking about Capriva and that bevy of wide receivers. But Yo really went to a setup where they were able to stretch the field out and then let Denayo find the spaces in those little read plays, and he did it very well, because Daingerfield so concentrated on slowing down those 4 wideouts. So many open lanes for Denayo all day.
Perhaps the final chance for Daingerfield on 4th down and 17. To the end zone, intercepted. Pulling it down, Jalen White. Got close the last time. He doesn't miss this time. And Cameron Yo's defense once more steps up and makes a big play.
White's 3rd interception of the year. And there's the difference between a senior in Edwin Mims and a junior in Karis Alexander. Alexander does take one look to the left, but then he locks in on the wide receiver, Wallace. I'm sorry, that's not Wallace for Daingerfield. He locks in on the wide receiver. It's Tykema Wilson. Locks in on him in the end zone, and that gives plenty of time for White to come over the top. And in that situation, you're pretty much looking for the end zone anyway. But I think that play perfectly encapsulates what the second half was all about, which was Edwin Mims putting his stamp on the team, showing how good and diversified he is. And when they lost him, it took away that element from the offense.
See Mims over on the bench receiving some treatment right now, but now time as well as the scoreboard on the
Delay
side.
game on the offense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
It's a delay call before the first down play was run.
He had a good day. And it hurt to see him go down at the end because he played really hard today. And he's been a leader for them for 3 years. He was a star in 2010 as a sophomore, a star in 2011, a star as a senior.
Turning the corner, this is Jaywan Anderson, a junior. By the way, Jaywan Anderson himself, while not used that much, has rushed for over
Daingerfield. First charge time out of the half.
500 yards this season as the Tigers call their first time out here in the second half.
Believe it or not, since we haven't said his name once today, he was the second leading rusher as far as attempts go coming in. 101 attempts coming into the game. But with Denayo playing the way he was, no reason not to give him the football. They just didn't need Jaywan today. They'll need him later when the kid comes back, since he's only a junior. So you take a look at Edwin Mims and your heart goes out for that kid. But Denayo was great today. So was Mims. And the Mims name, it'll go on. There'll always be another Mims in Daingerfield. That's more or less the whole in some of it out there. They've always got another one. But I think Tiger fans are going to talk about that one for a good long time. He was a good player.
Second down and 13 after the Daingerfield timeout. 2:56 to go. And Cameron Yoe closing in on its second ever state football championship and its first since 1981. This time coming around the corner is Aaron Sims and forcing the Tigers to use their second timeout.
Daingerfield. Second charge timeout of the half.
In the end, you look at this Yoe offense, everything they did today. They threw the ball really well. They ran it really well. Ended up pretty close to their average. They averaged 38 a game.
Right on it. Second game coming up at 4 o'clock. Gilmer and Navasota. Gilmer, of course, no stranger to the throne room of state championships in the decade of the 2000s. And Navasota looking for its first. And of course, one of the big stories there, Xavier Creeks, their outstanding running back, injured in an automobile accident early yesterday morning, returning to Navasota after taking his father to work, and had a car wreck and suffered a broken leg, had to undergo surgery. So their star running back. Now Navasota does throw the football a great deal and goes out of the spread, but that's still a big loss for Lee Fedora's team.
Losing him is colossal, and there's no question about it. But what they still do have is the quarterback, Darius Baker. And their two wide receivers, Solomon McGinty, I think, is the top one. And what makes that team so dangerous is their ability to read a defense. And those wide receivers can break their routes and get open quick as a wink. I mean, they will get away from you in a hurry. And we saw just how good.
Daingerfield, that is their third and final timeout.
We saw just how good Navasota can be when they beat West Orange Stark earlier this year. West Orange Stark, one of the best statistical defenses in all of Texas. Navasota had them 14-0 dead to rights, almost right out of the gate.
Navasota went on. And Navasota's been in the #1 spot since, I believe, the third week of the season. Stephenville lost in 0 week, a couple other losses to other teams. And Navasota went in very early, and the Rattlers have held the #1 position all year long. Meanwhile, you have Gilmer coming in and sustained an early loss to Prestonwood Christian Academy.
No shame there.
With a very young football team. And yet, there's the Buckeyes hanging out, getting ready for their opportunity. And yet Jeff Traylor has gotten the team back to the state championship round again.
And they're peaking at the right time. In some ways, high school football, it's almost like NHL hockey. You hear that old maxim that whatever team peaks late in the season, peaks in the playoffs, that's your most dangerous team. Well, that's what Gilmer's been. And really, something we haven't talked about today, with this score going the way it's going, Gilmer's going to be East Texas's only hope to come out with a state title in all the 11-man games. And if they don't, I think that's the first time in a decade, more than a decade, that East Texas has been shut out from the title games.
Fortunately, in the case of Gilmer, unlike the NHL, the Buckeyes have not been locked out for 100 days.
Oh, that would depress me.
Here's the punt. High hop, fielded by Bryant, back on the field after he was banged up earlier. Now he'll be dropped just shy of the 40-yard line with 2:27 to go. So Gilmer and Navasota, the game to follow. And then the night game, Lancaster and Cedar Park, both teams making their first ever appearances in the 4A state championship round. Cedar Park, much like Denton Geyer, tomorrow in the 4A Division I title run. They were number 1 and number 2 in the state. They both started 0-2, and they both haven't lost since.
And you know what? Cedar Park, when we say this is their first appearance in the state title game, that's almost a misnomer. Because 2 years in a row, they lost to Lake Travis, who would obviously go on to win their 4th and 5th consecutive state titles. And a lot of coaches, and not just in Austin, a lot of coaches will tell you in 2010, the 2 best teams in Texas, forget classes, the 2 best teams in Texas were Lake Travis and Cedar Park.
I wouldn't argue with it.
I wouldn't either.
And in that 2010 season.
Dead ball. False start on the offense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Cedar Park beat Lake Travis in the regular season, then lost in the rematch in Austin at Darrell K. Royal Texas Memorial Stadium in the state quarterfinals. Then in 2011, the last time they would meet as district opponents, of course, Lake Travis moving up to 5A this year, but last year, Lake Travis managed to sweep with 2 hard-fought games, 14-9 in the quarterfinals. So you're right, Timberwolves lost a couple of big games. How about Samari Wright? One more signature moment with the interception for Cameron Yo.
College recruiters, if you're bashful about going to a 2A town, you can go ahead and start off with Cameron. This kid can play for you. He can absolutely play for you. And some people say, well, the width and breadth of talent in 2A is diluted, or it's that way in 3A, or it's that way in 1A. I just don't believe it. There's a lot of really talented kids down here in these small schools. Just because you're in a small town doesn't mean you can't play football. Edgar Luna, that's a surefire college kid somewhere. Samari Wright is cut from the same cloth. Look at him. He's long. He's rangy. Still got a little room to grow into the frame. He's a really hard worker. He's fast. I mean, if you're talking about a spread offense world in the college ranks and you're looking for linebackers who can run and who will work for you, that one, 44, Samari Wright. Take him.
5th turnover of the football game for Daingerfield. Cameron Yo has not turned over the ball.
Delay game on the offense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
And a great story right now going in at quarterback is Dylan Raiola. You heard Ahmad Brooks report from the sidelines earlier about Dylan being injured and ill and unable to play, but he's out there and he'll take a knee. Boy, what a great moment this is for Raiola, who hasn't been able to play. And you can see how excited his teammates are as they go to run out the clock, and Raiola getting a chance to finish this one out.
And this is a really classy gesture by Rick Rhodes. And the reason he can't play is because he's on a blood thinner. And a contact like that, when you're in a blood thinner, I mean, something really bad can happen to you. It's just too dangerous for the kid to play. But Rhodes has said every practice he's there offering, how can I help? How can I be a part of this team? Every game he's there asking those same questions, being a supportive presence. So for a senior to be able to come out after his season was snatched away from him, be able to enjoy the moment the way he is right now, that's pretty cool.
Tough, emotional moment for Jacoby Simpson. You see Eric Sardinia saying, you've given everything you can to this program. Be proud of yourself, and plenty of reason for the Tigers to feel proud of their accomplishments this year.
I agree. Because the season was not easy to start with. It was a tough start for them. And Coach Sardinia said, hey, in Class 2A, whatever product you start with, that's not the product you end with. A lot of times it takes you time to get better because you don't know who's going to be in what spots yet. You don't have a lot of kids anyway. You're sorting it out. You're probably going to get hurt at some point along the line. As you see the emotion on Edward Mims' face, you're going to bring out crutches for him. The product you start with is not what you end with. And Daingerfield is a classic story of what we started with. We got a lot better as the season went along, and they played their hearts out to get to this point, and they beat some tough teams, most notably New Boston, a team that beat them in the regular season. They came back and beat New Boston in the postseason. That is an accomplishment they'll always have, And even though the game didn't go their way today, I thought they played really hard. Just a couple miscues really hurt them.
4th down. Capriva now back out there, and that's to punt the ball. She does. Bobbled. Loose. And down goes Bryant with 9 seconds to play in the game. So one final snap to come, and then the Yoemen will be able to celebrate the championship. You see Rick Rhodes on a long road to win the state title this year for Cameron, but they'll be a perfect 15-0. Eric Sardinia just finishing his 2nd season. Tigers had the great run under Barry Bowman, winning state championships 08 through 010.
And Sardinia said he has a lot of respect for Bowman. Everyone should. But winning 3 in a row in 2A is hard. Because if you win 3 in a row, at some point you've recycled some of your prime talent. You're not going to have 22 sophomores that'll win 3 titles for you. It's just not going to happen. As you see the last play here at the second half.
And went out of, stopped on an incomplete pass. Well, clock ran out. The official's going to let it go. I believe he'll say that's enough. It's been enough football for today. Clock has run out, and the Yoemen from Cameron High will take a state championship back down to Milam County today. A 2nd state title in school history. Who says dog piles are limited to baseball? The Yoemen get to celebrate a championship, and they'll take that back down to Central Texas. Yeah, 15-0 season.
You can hear Rick Rhodes telling him, all right, I love the celebration. Let's go shake some hands, all right?
There are the Tigers. Disappointed, but a great season up in Northeast Texas. They've had some great moments in that Daingerfield Lone Star Independent School District. Tigers may have great ones again to come. But the day belongs to the folks from Cameron. And defense, as we said at the top of the telecast, Travis, set the tone for the day.
It sure did. And then special teams is the one that closed the book. We've said it before, we'll recap it again. They had the big fumble recovery in the end zone off the missed punt for a touchdown. They had a big field goal at the end of the game that made it a 3-score game. That was huge. They pinned Daingerfield inside their own 10-yard line more than once. When you pair all those elements together with how well Samari Wright played today, the linebacker for Yo, you put all those elements together and it leaves the opposition with 0 room for error. Daingerfield had no room for error with how well Yo played today. And a lot of teams, how often do you see a team play with no mistakes? It almost just doesn't happen. But Samari Wright turned in, I think, what was probably the 2nd best defensive performance I've seen out of all these title games so far, bested only by Hagan Hutchinson at Stanford, who became the only player to win offensive and defensive title game MVP honors in the same game. But Samari Wright was fantastic today. We didn't get a chance to talk about Capriva as much because they didn't need him as much, but he was very solid. Keaton Denio was spectacular. The offensive line was quite good. This Cameron Yo team, we ranked them #1 in the preseason. Dave Campbell's Texas football did. And Coach Rhodes told me out front, you're crazy. You are crazy to do that. Well, we did it anyway. Paid off.
Well, the man on the defensive side of the football wreaking so much havoc. Samari Wright down on the field with Ira Modbrooks.
Indeed he was. Samari, you were all over the field tonight. But first, talk about your defense as a whole and how you guys really stood tall.
Well, our defense, we all play together as a team. And I told them, everybody just play y'all gaps, play as a team. If somebody mess up, pick them up. And that's what we did. We was able to come away with the win. Everybody swarming to the ball, getting there. I told them one person stand tall and the other one just come and strip it. And we stood tall as a whole. That's what I was able to do.
Well, it looks like you have a big man in the middle up front. Of course, your comrade Luna keeps those blockers off of you and allows you to go from sideline to sideline. But, young man, how do you do it, and how do you hunt the football the way that you do?
Well, Luna take the guards out of the picture and leave me free. And then I just read off my guard, and I'm able to get there. And I'm just, like, as far as moving side to side, I'm able to do it.
What does it feel like winning the state title?
Oh, man, it feels so good, man. I mean, ever since day one, 2 days, we came into the lock-in. Everybody's goal was to win the state title. I mean, we had it on the board. And then, I mean, ever since then, we've been working hard. I mean, coming in, pumping that iron and all that stuff. I mean, we able to get it done.
Well, it paid off. Congratulations on your state title. I'm going to interview also the man of the hour as well, the running back, Denayo. That big 31-yarder that you had to really open it up right up the middle of the field. Take us through that play.
It just opened up the backside cut, and I just hit the jets, and it worked out for me.
Yeah, you know, it looked like you guys really got in the groove early on in the ball game and just took control. Talk about the offensive performance in general.
The offensive line had an unbelievable game tonight, and Munchie, he just read the right reads, and our receivers blocked great. It was a fun game.
It was a fun game. You were going up against another very good team, but you all just continued to fight and keep it going. What was the message on the sideline throughout the game? You guys just trying to encourage yourselves?
Unfinished business and play to win. So that's what we came into the game like.
Congratulations, young man. Go celebrate your title. Craig, back to you guys.
All right, thank you very much, Ahmad. Cameron Yoe, second state championship in school history. They win it this afternoon. I want to remind you that coming up next, our nonstop UIL state championship coverage continues on Ford Championship Live. Then it's the 3A Division II title matchup, the Gilmer Buckeyes and the top-ranked Navasota Rattlers. Once again, the final score, Cameron Yoe 38, Daingerfield 20. For Travis Stewart, Ahmad Brooks, and our Fox Sports Southwest crew, I'm Craig Way. So long for now from Cowboys Stadium.